And we are live on the YouTubes. It feels unnaturally quiet. Why does it feel unnaturally quiet? That's very weird. Hey, Mika. Oh, Maddie's chewing her food. There we go. Now it's not quiet. Okay. I need to share. I need to check that my second camera is working. It is, but it's upside down. Okay. There we go. Right. Screen's a little bright. I don't know quite how I'm going to stay in frame, but I will do my best. Today, what I'm going to do is shovel this into there, basically. That's the premise for today's class. Okay, bye. Oh dear. That away. Put that in, that is going in my scraps box. I don't know what the scraps box is. Okay. Yeah, basically today I'm going to show you how to do a basic pamphlet book. For those of you who did not do the one in September, I've put the video of how to do the pamphlet stitch, where I actually did the full tutorial in the post. So you can go back and watch that, or, you know, if you only did it once the last time, you can go back and check it again, refresh, whatever. We're actually doing a different kind of stitch today, and I don't know how far we're going to get, but we're going to do our best. Basically, what we're aiming to do is turn this into a complete booklet for February. This is my February journal. This is a Sea Whites of Brighton acid-free sketchbook. It was 20 sheets, 40 pages. I don't have 20 sheets in it anymore. I don't even have 10 sheets in it anymore because I keep stealing bits out of it. So obviously, even though February is a short month, this is not going to be enough paper for me to do a month's journaling in and writing and everything else. So it's a cahier style. So it's like the moleskins, but it's got staples. It's only got 2 staples. Now these staples hold really well. I've never had any trouble with them. However, you can't really take the staples out and re-staple it unless you've got a long arm industrial stapler. Therefore, we're going to take the staples out, shove some other papers in, turn it into kind of a junk journal, sew it back together, and it will then become one signature. Now, in bookbinding, books are made up of signatures. When you look at the end of a book, I meant to bring my book over so that you could see what I was doing. Hang on, let me grab my Alice book because she's only there. And then you'll be able to see what I mean. I know for some of you, this is like old hat. You know this already. You've done this before. You've done bookbinding with me before. But remember, we've got beginners in the class and it never hurts to go over it again. So this is the book that Anna made me. And it's made in a similar kind of way. So it's made in sections. You see those sections there? And each one of those sections bound together makes a book. And each section is called a signature. I've got some loose bits. This is not the signature falling apart. I've got loose bits of paper in here. So each one of these is a signature, okay? The plan is I'm going to have, if you look at a traveler's notebook, clever, right? Look, signatures. It's the basic premise of a traveler's notebook. So by the end of 6 months, I'm going to have 6 of these that I can bind together into quite a chunky book, probably about that thick. Okay? So I'm kind of doing it, the binding after the fact. Now, to bind it after the fact and get the papers to go together, we basically have to bind it in a slightly different way. We can use pamphlet stitch, and there's nothing wrong with using pamphlet stitch. And if you're just beginning, use pamphlet stitch. It's fine. You can make other signatures later to turn into a book. It's not a problem. This is just kind of a hybrid to get the beginners working on books and also give the more advanced people something else to do. I actually wanted to put that somewhere around here. So let me just find a spot for it. I think it can go in there. So if I bend it about there, that will be about right. And then I can pop it in there and it won't be in the way. There we go. So this is a pseudo junk journal. I didn't take the book apart in the beginning. Still got the 2 staples in, still holding up very well. But I've added loads of extra bits. I've added, you saw me put a envelope in so that it's slid under the binding. You can do the same thing with papers. I've added a lot of tip-ins and pockets and things and stuff like that. For the next one, I want to actually use different papers. So that's what we're going to do. Is everybody alive out there? You're all very quiet again. Mika's alive. You're so quiet this year. Oh, Cody's here. Hey, Cody. See, Cody's alive. Cody's making stuff. She looks like she's bookbinding already, so. Oh, speaking of, because I see she's sewing something. Speaking of sewing, I don't want to take up class time with too many basics because they take a long time to teach. Obviously, they take a long time for people to, you know, people need to go over it and over it and over it before they really get it. I totally get that. So what I'm going to do for things like the running stitch and things that we're going to use, I thought I would create a series of tutorials for YouTube as basics and put them on the site under the free stuff. Because the basic sewing is not difficult. It just needs to be something that you know how to do. So you can go over those and sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. Ew, dog hair. Hairball, sorry. It's not really anything that's worth showing you, but it would be better to show you something like this. So I'm going to do basic sewing stuff like the running stitch. I'll record this when I do it. I'll talk you through it. I'll throw it up on YouTube as a free tutorial, but I'll also put it in class so you've got it as something more as a reference piece. That way I don't have to spend time in class going over individual stitches. I can say, right, okay, I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. We put all this together. And then, okay, now I'm going to do running stitch along here. And you will either already know what running stitch is, or if you can't remember, you can go and reference it later, because obviously you're not going to be able to keep up with me anyway. So even if you're following along, you know, you can make a note of, oh, I need to go back and do running stitch on that later. And then you can follow the tutorial at your own speed. okay? Because I don't want people in class going, oh, but I can't do this because it's too fast. I'm hoping to do 2 stitches a month. So this month we'll be doing a basic running stitch, which is just a basic in, out, in, out, in, out. It's what seamstresses use to just tack things together. And it's a really useful stitch. Even if that's the only one you ever master, that's good enough. So we'll do in, out, in, out, in, out. We'll do what I call double running stitch, which is where you go in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And then you come back going in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. So it alternates and it looks like a straight stitch. I use that one a lot. It kind of looks like a sewing stitch, like a sewing machine stitch. And then we'll also do back stitch, which is the one where you go down and up and back and down and up and back and down and up and back. If you had hand stitch seams or anything like that, or anything where the material, like if I pulled this apart by accident, sorry, I keep going the wrong way. I keep forgetting my camera is over here now. If I pulled this apart by accident, this has got weight against it or stretch on it. So therefore I would need to use a back stitch to make sure that when it went like that, it didn't just come apart. And then there's other things we can do, like invisible seams and all that kind of thing. That's a bit later. Invisible sewing is a bit more tricky, but we can do, once we know how to do basic back stitch and running stitch, we can then do chain stitch and satin stitch and herringbone and all those kind of stuff, because it's basically all the same stuff. It's all in, out, in, out, in, out. It just depends which hole you go down and which hole you come up. Complicated bunnies, but we're going to start with the easy ones. Okay? Does that sound okay with everybody? I don't want anybody to think, oh, well, we've been told we're going to do sewing and now, you know, everybody's getting the basic tutorials. Well, you know, it's kind of presumed that you have a vague idea of how to sew. I would hope that everybody can at least sew on a button. You're all crafty people, so I would think everybody can sew on a button. If you would rather not do hand stitching for your books and you would rather conquer your sewing machine, that is also something I'm doing at the moment. So I'm not going to teach you how I'm doing sewing machine stuff, because my sewing machine, honestly, it cost me about 20 quid on Amazon, and that included a massive set of sewing materials. So basically it cost me about a tenner. It goes forward and backwards at 2 speeds. It doesn't even have a foot pedal. It has a little switch, which actually I really like. It's a tiny little thing. It's barely bigger than a stapler. You think I'm joking? I'm so not. I'd like a nice big machine, but I don't really do enough sewing to warrant it. But I am getting very into just putting patchwork bits together and stuff like that. I can see myself doing a lot of patchwork book covers and things, or, you know, sewing simple book bags like Anna made for my Alice book, or cushion covers or stuff like that. I mean, basically a book bag is just an unfinished cushion cover. If you buy a cushion cover, you've got a book bag. In fact, I've seen a really cool 43 centimeter cushion cover that zips that would make an awesome book bag for that, which means I can use that book bag for something else. So yeah, anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get on with this. Okay, now I'm going to teach at 2 levels, beginners and everybody else. But it gets really complicated going, okay, beginners do this and intermediate do that. So if I specifically say beginners, ignore this bit, or beginners, I think you should do this. And by beginners, I mean, you have no idea what you're doing. You've just got a stack of paper and a sewing needle. And you're not sure which end's the pointy end. You know, if you're a beginner, you know you're a beginner. If I say beginners specifically, that means if you have no idea what you're doing, this is the easy route. Everybody else, I will give you suggestions for what you could do with it, because I know you've all got different abilities. Some of you can already embroider. Some of you are very good with fabric. Some of you can already knit and crochet and already understand how that works. You know, by all means, if you've done this kind of stuff before and this is old hat to you, experiment. You know, how can you crochet edges like Mara and Andrea were talking about the other day? How can you make little crochet doilies or stuff to include as pockets in your book or whatever? How can you sew a patchwork cover? If you've never done patchwork before, but you're pretty good with a sewing machine, patchwork is a real challenge. Quilting basically is a real challenge because you've got to get it all to line up. One of the reasons I have trouble with patchwork is basically I really don't have time to measure stuff. I don't have time or patience to measure stuff, but I'm very into what I call abstract patchwork. I don't know what it's actually called, but it's similar to this. This is paper. This is a raggedy that the Junk Journal girls make, which is collaged papers with sewing on it. And we'll make one of these at some point as well, because I want to do one of these. And this could be something that you use as a sampler even to practice your sewing stitches on. In fact, I might make one. That's an idea. I could make one and then show you the stitches so that you've got a sampler, like the old style samplers. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Let me write that down. There's an idea. Ping! So we'll do a raggedy for class, sewing samplers, and then we'll use the raggedy to do the sewing samples. And then you've got them all referenced together and you can see, you know, especially if you're like me and you're not very good with names, you can write the names next to it, go, this is zigzag, this is herringbone, this is whatever. And then when you look at it, you can go, yeah, I remember how to do that one, or no, I'm going to have to look that one up. I've seen those little sewing machines and always wondered if they really work. I'd like to see it in my journals. Yeah, it's not the best machine. It's not like heavy duty. You know, if you were going to do this as a hobby, like if you were a junk journaler or a sewer of some sort, even if it was paper sewing, absolutely you'd need a decent machine. You'd need a proper sewing machine. You can get one these days for like 150 quid and it's fully digital. It's amazing what you can get in a sewing machine these days. If you just want something that you can basically do, you know, like I did this the other day. Where is it? It was a 2-second thing. I grabbed this, I shoved it through the machine. I held the paper. Sorry, I'm struggling to get my camera, my things under the camera because I'm used to it being over here. If I'm out of camera range, shout at me in chat, like capital letters in chat. Hey, Rach. Rach is over on YouTube. Right, so this is a scrap of photo paper I had hanging around the desk. I folded this bit of fabric and I'd used a tiny bit of Pritt stick just to stick it on both sides because it was really difficult to hold such a tiny piece of fabric with my big chunky fingers. And then I literally just ran it under the sewing machine. It's like a 3-second job. That's it. That's all I did. So if that's all you want it for, that kind of stuff, it will work fine. One of those little cheap ones will work fine. And to be honest, even if you went, if it only lasted you 3 months, for 20 quid, you'd get all the sewing bits and a machine. Even if it only lasted 3 months, that's still only 80 quid a year to replace it 3 times. Buy one 4. Whereas a big sewing machine costs you £140. So if you're not entirely sure you're going to like it, if you're only going to want to do it occasionally, or, you know, if you want to just be able to make stuff like this for your journals sometimes when the mood takes you and you want to sit at a sewing machine for an hour and a half and just make some bits and pieces, then I highly recommend those little sewing machines. Mine's got a variety of stitches. It's got like 4 or 5 different sizes of zigzags. It's got 4 or 5 different sizes of straight stitch. And it's got 2 fancy stitches that I don't remember the name of. This one, I think this is herringbone stitch. It kind of looks like herringbone stitch. It loops up and goes down and up and down and up and down. It's really pretty stitch. And I think it's got some kind of satin buttonhole type stitch where the stitches are really close together. But that's it. That's all it's got, which is fine for me because I'm struggling with straight stitch. The thing I have an issue with sewing machines is that they're all right-handed and I'm a lefty. So ideally, my machine would go that way. But you use the machine that way. So you push things through with this hand and you guide it with this hand because the machine is here, which means this hand has something to rest on. Ideally, I need it that way round. So I can rest on this side and guide it. And I can't do that, obviously, because there's nothing here. This is the end of the sewing machine. So I'm going to have to try and find a book that's the right height so that I can use mine left-handed, because I can't guide the machine that way, which is why all my straight stitches are not straight. Everything goes wibbly. But that's also lack of practice and the fact that I don't know quite what tension I need to use or anything like that. Anna said that when you're looking at tension on a sewing machine, basically treat it like gears on a car, which will be great for those of us in Europe who actually have cars with gears. Those of you who drive an automatic are going to have a little bit more trouble. But when I was taught to drive, gears on a car, if the engine sounds like it's straining and struggling, drop down. If the engine sounds like it's running away with you, go up. And do the same with the sewing machine. That's what I've been doing. It seems to be working. But depending on what you're sewing, which stitch you're using, and how many thicknesses you're sewing, you're going to have to adjust the tension. I always thought the tension was based on the thickness of the yarn, crocheter, the thickness of the thread, but it's not based on the thickness of the thread. It's based on how you're sewing and what you're sewing and stuff like that, which is a little bit more complicated than I thought. But once it's in terms of a road, you know, you go uphill, you know your car's going to struggle going uphill. The engine's going to struggle, therefore you go down a gear. And once you think of it like that in advance, it becomes a whole lot easier. Okay, so that's plans. I'll shut up now and we'll make something. I am planning on running over a little bit today. I moved my delivery to 8:30 to 9 instead of 7:30, so that we've got time to run over if we need to, which means if I get sort of halfway and I think we need a coffee break and then continue, then that's what we'll do. So I have a variety of papers. One of the things I discovered is that my printer can print borderless. Oh ho. On mine, I go into normal file print A4, or yours would be letter or whatever you use. Mine says file print A4, and then A4 has an arrow next to it, and you can print a regular border, which is the border around the outside is the same, or you can print top or bottom borders, so you can have a border on the side or the top. And then it says borderless, and borderless gives you a full sheet of paper. This has made my day because I pay for the HP PhotoSmart thing, which gives me 50 sheets to print every month, and I hardly ever use them. So now I can print papers. I can print papers that I want for my journal. And this is quite nice. This is the HP PhotoSmart printer paper. It's not expensive. I bought this in B&M for like £3.50. But it feels really nice, and it takes ink, fountain pen. So even if I only use this for bullet journal pages or writing rather than art, it saves my really good art paper for when I want to draw or paint. And then I can just write on this or stick stuff on it or whatever. Where to get downloads? There are loads and loads of places to get downloads. Just about every museum there is offers free printables of anything that's out of copyright. That includes the Met, the New York Met, the London Met. In fact, all the Mets, all the Metropolitans that I've been to the sites of have a free printables section in their gallery somewhere. Sometimes you have to go into the art and look at the specific picture, and then it will tell you if you can. Usually, if it's got a full screen option, that's a high def, and it will literally come up on your computer screen like you'll see this much of a piece of painting on your screen. That's how high def it is. Full size, proper scans. And then usually there's a download option next to that if it's available in my gallery somewhere. That was Rachel squeaking in. You people, I need to remind you all about this, right? You people, listen to me. Everybody keeps overriding my settings. When you log in, your mic and your video should automatically be off. For that reason, because it really throws me when that happens. Go into your profile. Yeah. Go into your profile and make sure that it is set to audio off and video off when you join a stream. Because you can always put it on straight away or when you're ready or whatever. But your settings are overriding mine. My stream settings are everybody's video and audio is off. But yeah, yours is always on, Mika, but you always manage to get here before me and switch it off. So, you know, if you're using a phone, it's worse. Like Rachel always logs into here on her phone. So we always get that weird mouse noise before she switches it off. But she's very good. She does always switch it off straight away. If you can do that, then that's okay. But I'd rather you had it switched off before you joined, if that's possible. Okay, so go into your profile on Zoom and set it so that when joining a meeting, your video and audio is automatically off. Because it's really disruptive to the class. Well, it's not disruptive to other people, but it completely throws me. Thank you, guys. Do you think we've only been using Zoom for a couple of months? You know, we have to learn about these things. Anyway. Free printables, any Met museum, most of the big museums, Victoria and Albert has loads of medieval stuff. A lot of the Cambridge University stuff, Cambridge Library, the Smithsonian, Oxford Library, all of those have pretty much anything in their collections that's out of copyright is already scanned and up. So you can get letters. Cambridge Library online has the entire set of 400 journals of Isaac Newton. Handwritten, printable stuff, okay? 400 pages, sorry, of journals and mathematical things and exercise books and all sorts. They've got Einstein's available, you know? Go and play. Yes, you need to go into, that's because you're coming in and then going off. You need to go into your profile on Zoom, your actual profile settings, and set it to automatically turn off. That way you can switch it on and switch it off and you shouldn't get your mic coming on. Yeah? I can talk you through it if you can't find it, don't worry. Or one of the mods will probably do a tutorial. They're pretty good at that. One of the best places to get stuff that I've found, especially if you want things like this, because this is scrapbook paper, okay? This is the kind of stuff that people pay 50, 60 pence a sheet and upwards, right? Most of us have done scrapbooking or bought scrapbooking supplies. 50, 60 pence a sheet, 12 quid a pack, all that kind of stuff. This is from Pixabay. P-I-X-A, Pixabay. I'm going to type it. I'm going to type it in chat because I don't think I know how to spell it out loud. Pixabay.com. It's a free site. You can pay, but you don't have to. And basically, it's lots of people who do this sort of stuff as a hobby for free. A lot of students do portfolios on there, and they make this stuff available for commercial use, which is why I use it a lot. Because technically, because this is a class, even though it's a private class, this is commercial use, even though it's my journal. That's where it gets confusing, which is why I try to use stuff that's not in copyright. So everything they've got, you know, you can see this is handwritten music, and it's actually reversed. It's actually backwards because the writing is backwards on it. I have no idea what that piece is, but they always list what it is and where they got it and everything to show that it's out of copyright. But handwritten music, I mean, that's probably out of copyright anyway. But once you can print these double-sided and borderless, you can make your own scrapbooking papers on your own printer paper that you like to use. You can also, once you know how to coffee dye or tea dye paper, you can tea dye it and iron it so that it goes flat again and put it through your printer. And then you've got coffee stain paper with this stuff on as well. Obviously, if you've got a LaserJet printer, you can do it either way because LaserJet ink is waterproof, but inkjet ink tends not to be waterproof. I think mine is actually. Mine does fairly well, at least with water, you know, brushes and stuff. The old electric Singer sewing machines from the 60s are good as they only have straight stitch and zigzag. Yeah, but they weigh more than you do, Rachel. In fact, the one my mum had that my mum had one that weighed more than her. The one she gave me that was by brother from my grandmother, I couldn't even lift it. I had to get my dad to put it on a table. You can buy them secondhand easily. Most of them have problems with them. You're crazy. Remember, 20 years ago, they were only 20 years old. We're now like another 20 years. So you're talking about a machine from the 60s is 40, 50 years old now, and the rest. So unless it's been looked after, it's going to be a bit of an old banger. You're actually better off buying a cheap new one. Because although they are sturdy and foolproof, the new ones have got digital and they do all sorts of clever things. So I guess if you've already got one at home, you know, dig it out and see how it works. But yeah, you bought yours in the 90s when it was only 30 years old and they were made to last. See, that's the thing. The Singer sewing machines in the 60s were made to last 50 years. The machines you buy now are not made to last 50 years. It's like my washing machine. My washing machine still goes, even though it sounds like a Boeing, because it's older than me. Anyway, Rachel's talking about sewing machines. That may mean that she's behind. That just occurred to me. Hang on. Check. Oh, she's in Zoom. She's in Zoom. Rachel, check on Zoom. Check on YouTube that you are actually caught up on the live, that you are listening live. You might have to refresh. I need to refresh because I haven't got the live stream going. There we go. Okay, anyway, I printed out a few of these. I've got this one, which I think is really pretty. It's quite girly for me, but once it's broken up into a small book, remember, it'll be, you know, it's quite floral, but it's not too floral. And I can always cover this with photos or something, which is probably what I'll do. But if not, it's nice to write on. And when I printed it, instead of printing it full resolution, I dropped the saturation right down and I dropped the opacity right down. So this is nowhere near the colours it should have been. This is like photorealistic. Maddie, this is like photorealistic roses on here. I dropped it way down so that it would print soft enough for me to write over if I want to, because I use black pen, so I can write over pretty much anything. I've also got this one, which looked better on screen. I got to admit, looked better on screen. But I kind of like how it came out. And if nothing else, I can use this as a background for something else. Come on, baby. Come and sit in there by the radiator. There you go. She's cold. My Baba. Belly rubs for a Maddie. So this one didn't come out quite as well as I would like. What I'll probably do is edit this in Photoshop. When I say Photoshop, I don't mean Photoshop, I mean GIMP. But I always say Photoshop because people say, what's GIMP? GIMP is a free version of Photoshop that's made by the MIT guys. They've been doing it for years. Whatever Photoshop throws at them, MIT make it for free. So what I'll do is I'll drop the opacity on this down to like 25% and put a white screen underneath it so that it will be really pale. And then I've got this one, which again, I dropped the saturation and dropped the opacity. It's really pretty. People make these backgrounds for nothing. And you can do your own, you know, you could make your own. If you do a nice background on paper, then you think, oh, I'd rather like to keep that as a paper, or even scan your own journal pages and use them and drop the opacity and like mirror them and stuff. And all of a sudden you've got a completely different background. So that's something we can look at playing with as digital stuff that we can do. So I've got those two. I didn't specifically go for a pink theme or anything, but it is February is Valentine's Day. So I kind of think I'll probably use kind of pinky yellow and green and that kind of stuff. This one is a handwritten letter. The handwritten letter, I really liked the edges. I could have printed this full paper, but I really liked the edges. And then I've got this one on the back, which is I printed with a border because I thought what I could do is literally cut this out so that I've got the rough edges. And then you can take your scissors. I'll do this in a minute properly, but you know, just to give you an idea, to make it look old, you can just take your scissors and run it along the edge of the paper like that, and it just wraps up the paper enough to make it look like it's actually old paper. Okay. I've got little bits of vellum. I don't know if I use these as pockets or whatever. I've got a free printable of a post that I put on postcard. This is just on white card. This is what it looked like. This is from Graphics.
Ro, you're off the screen. We can't see.
Can't see what? Susan?
What you were doing with the scissors.
Oh. Oh, I was only cutting a piece. No, I was doing it here. Could you not see that?
Nope.
Was I too close? I thought that was on screen. Oh, I was just doing that. That's all. Sorry, Sue. Are you watching on an iPad or something? Do you need to pinch your screen down? Are you not getting the full screen?
Thanks. You're right. I didn't realize I could pinch the screen down.
It just suddenly occurred to me that because mine does that as well. I've got my tiny little phone. Because my phone is so tiny, it's only got a screen the size of a credit card. I always have to pinch the screen down. Otherwise, I only literally get this bit. But yeah, I do keep going off over here. If I go off past, if I go past the candle in the corner, you need to let me know because that bit you can't see me. But yeah, here you should be able to see me. Oh, you confused me then. But then I thought like this bit, we can tear this bit. So if I cut that bit there, just down the edge, because that's a straight edge, and then this bit, we can literally just tear it. And you've got a rough edge, right? So then you've got something that looks like an original letter. You could even, like, it's got seams on it. You could fold it on the seams. If you've got some Tim Holtz distressing thingies, you could add some distress marks to it. Use your thumbnail. And what it'll do is, especially on printed paper, it'll create a white crease, which is what you get on old paper, is you get an old crease where it gets, all the ink comes off. And then you can just, like here, can you see you've got a little cut out there? Just pinch the corner and pull the corner off. Don't even need scissors for that bit. And then you've got a little divot. You can't see it on screen very well because it's too tiny, but you got a little divot then. And if it's not a big enough divot, do it again. If you don't have fingernails long enough, drop it with a pair of scissors. And then you get a divot, you see. So it kind of roughs up. And then if you wanted to, you could even tear it along that little bit so it looks like it's started to tear. And then you're starting to get vintage ephemera that you're making. That's a whole other ball game. But I thought it would be fun for those of you who've already done this kind of stuff to be able to play with this kind of thing and, you know, see what you can do with it. So I got some postcards. Oh, that's for my current journal. That's going in there. I've got, now this paper is from an old art book that I pulled apart. And it just happens that the paper is the right size for the book. You'll see what I mean in a minute. This is before I discovered that my printer could do full screen. A soft water brush for tearing edges. Yes, that works too. For those who don't know how to do it, you just get a water brush or a bit of water, bend the edge, wet it, straighten it out, and then pull it apart. Works really, really well with handmade papers, especially those mulberry papers. So this is just another free printable from Pixabay that I printed double-sided. I liked the butterfly on this. But again, if you wanted to make this yourself, there's nothing stopping you making this yourself. I've just printed some out because it's quicker. I've got another one. This is a romantic painting of Countess somebody or other, Gainsborough, I think. I just like the dog. Oh, sorry, I'm off screen. The dog, Be More Dog, he fits my theme. Now, he is too thin, obviously, to put folded over. So we're going to have to MacGyver with that one. And obviously these are too big. Now, I did say don't fold your papers yet, because I'm going to show you how you can do different things with different papers depending on how big or small they are. I've got some other bits and pieces I can add in as pockets or whatever. I've got this one, which I took out of it's a New York style guide, but I thought I liked this bit and I liked this bit. And I thought maybe I could stitch them together with a bit of tape and turn them into a full page and sew it in half. I keep saying sew, I don't mean sew. Another crazy medieval prints from the same book. Another one that I kind of folded it a bit. I was going to use it for something and then I thought, oh, I know. These are from that style guide as well. Just some, I literally just went through the pages and pulled out ones from the middle that I liked. Because these are the same size as this. Really helps if your books are roughly the same size. Obviously, it's going to stick out a little bit. If you want to change that, then you need to do it after you've done the book. You need to cut down your pages even. So if you're going to add pockets or whatever while you're making the book, that's going to be a little tricky. But if you're doing a basic pamphlet where you are literally just taking papers, folding them in half, beginners, folding them in half, putting them into a booklet, and then you literally just get a rotary cutter or a steel edge ruler and a knife and very carefully cut it so that it's flat. That's how you get a straight edge. What that will mean is that the inside pages are not as wide as the outside pages, as you can see here. So the inside page ends there. Scooby, stop, please. The inside page ends there, so you can see there's quite a big difference. Scooby! Oi, leave it. It's enough. It's enough. There's quite a big difference between the inside and outside pages. So don't worry about, oh, I've got to get my pages the right size or anything like that. Roughly is good enough. Scooby! Sorry, I'm going to have to shout at him. Hey! Scooby, get in here. You're in enough trouble. Come on, in. anybody at the door? No, you're being a brat. No, behave yourself. Speaking of being in trouble, this is why he's in trouble. This is what is left of a very beautiful vintage Paddington Bear that I had since I was a kid. This is what's left of him. Because some puppy, oops, something's pressing on the, some puppy killed my Paddington Bear. And it wasn't Maddie, because Maddie loves stuffed toys. She never destroys stuffed toys. Unfortunately, I think he fell off my desk. He's been sitting up there on my desk and I think he fell off. But yeah, this is my vintage Paddington Bear. Somebody did not look after him. So yeah, he's in bits. His feet are gone. His suitcase has, I think, been eaten. He's half a bear. He's half the bear he used to be. Scooby likes to pull things out of the bin and tear it apart. He's a bit of a, for a collie German Shepherd, he's got a lot of terrier tendencies, I'm telling you. Maddie would have taken this to her bed and cuddled it. So I know it was Scooby, because Maddie's got a little goat that she stole off me. It's only a tiny little thing. And she's still got it and she hides it. And every so often she'll bring it out and snuggle with it. So yeah, my lovely Paddington got destroyed. And he was movable and everything. He was posable. And so yeah, some puppy's in a lot of trouble because he's not even salvageable at this point. He's half the bear he was. He's in the doghouse. Not that he cares. Okay. Yeah, these pages are the same size. I've just picked out pages that I thought were kind of cool. That one's really cool. This one is cool. This one not so much. Again, the pages that I might use or I might put aside. I've got a couple of bits of this sort of scrapbooking paper. Again, she's a little bit too wide for the book. So I thought maybe I could reinforce her. See, I could perhaps stick this to this to reinforce that, and then I can sew it, and that'll be 2 pages then, see? So we'll figure that out as we go along. This is a piece of, this is the piece of paper from that book. And it just happens that it's the right size, that if you top it off, so it's the right height for the book there, roughly, you can chop off the top and then add it, and then it becomes the right width for the book. It's very slightly different, about ½ an inch different, but that shorter is not a problem. Longer by 1 inch, 2 inches is not a problem. Slightly longer is annoying. If it's slightly longer, like that much, chop it off. If it's slightly shorter, that's fine. You can always put it like that and then use this bit later to add fringing or lace to or whatever, or you can just put it in the middle and deal with the fact that it's a bit different. You can also use like wide washi tape. You could put wide washi tape along there and fold it in half around the edge to make the page match when you get there. This is not a junk journal as in I'm decorating it and putting it all together. This is I'm putting papers together like a junk journal, and then I'll see what happens afterwards and I'll make it as I go. I printed these off. I've got a January one as well somewhere that I threw over there. I thought these might be fun as kind of a board, writing board type thing with the date on, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've got a journal card there that I like one side, but I need to do something about that side because what the hell is that? I've got some moleskin papers. These are from a bound hardcover moleskin. So it has the 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches as opposed to sewn all the way down. Sewn all the way down on a moleskin is not a good idea because you'll have holes, basically perforations all the way down, and it'll tear and fall apart. These have come out of a hardcover moleskin, and I literally just went to the middle of a I literally just went to the middle of a signature, pulled it out. The middle of a signature is where you can see the stitching. Okay, so if you can see the stitching, you can pull the pages on either side, pull it really hard and fast, and it should work. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but you know, it's a bit like the tablecloth out from under the pile of plates trick. Once you've figured it out how to do it, you got it. It's all in the wrist. This is the other side of that blue piece of paper that I took out from my other journal. So I thought maybe I could do something with this because it's coffee stained on the other side. So again, maybe I could put it like that on a page and put it as part of the book. And then when I get to this bit, maybe I could turn that into a pocket, or, you know, just leave it as it is, or sew a bit onto here to make it the right size and make this a pocket. You know, there's all sorts of things you can do. I'm not worrying about it right now. That's the journal for me. I like to make my journals as I go. I don't make a fully decorated journal in advance, all ready, and then write in it. That's not what I do, as you know, and I don't think it's what most of you do either. I've also got, for my Be More Dog theme, this lovely boy. He's a very good boy, very good muddy boy who needs a bath, but he's a very good boy. And then also this very good boy. I just thought they'd be cute. And again, they're slightly wider than what I've got, so they're going to hit the seam. And then on the other side of the page, you're basically going to see that, which is quite a nice decorative thing. You know, I don't have a problem with that sticking out on one side of the page. Adds a bit of interest. But I will have to be careful that where I fold it. So let's start with this one. I explained earlier that a page in the outside is going to be wider than a page on the inside. Let me show you that in practice. I've got to take my staples out. And yes, I do have a nifty little staple nipper, you know, it goes like that. A staple mouse, we call them. It's got little ears, and you do that with the staples and they come out. But do I know where it is? Of course I don't. Don't be bloody silly. So I'm just going to use some tweezers. Because I've already pulled so much out of this book, there's gaps between the staples and the paper. So it's pretty easy to get the tweezers up underneath. These are not my beauty tweezers. These are an old pair that are no longer, when they're no longer aligned, like that, or when they're no longer sharp enough to pull chin hairs out, they get relegated to my crafting box. I never throw away a good pair of tweezers because you can always use them for stuff like this, and then that means you don't destroy ones that you actually want to use. Okay, metal bits, that will have to go in with Paddington because that needs to go in the bin outside. Okay, so taking that, and I'm going to put it so that everything is flush on one edge. So everything on this edge matches. Now look at the difference in the width of the papers. There is a good ½ inch. Yeah, it's a good ½ inch of difference between the inside paper and the outside paper, okay? We're not going to do maths, don't worry. What we're going to do is take this as an inside paper size. So I'm just going to write on here, so I don't mix it up with anything else. Okay, and obviously the cover is an outside paper size. That's the biggest. So if I've got any bigger papers, like my wider papers, I can put them near the outer cover. And if I've got smaller papers, I can put them near the inside. See? Now this one, when I fold it, obviously it's only going to have a little bit left. So I want to use a narrower paper to maximize this bit so that the fold, see this bit here to the fold will be thinner Therefore, it will maximize this side. It will make it a little more stable in the binding. Ah, they say. That's clever. So here's an easy way to fold your papers to the right size. This is why I marked this as an inside page. You put your paper like that into the thing there. And oh, look, now you've got a guide to fold your paper over. Make sure it's square on the bottom. And you now have literally another signature for your page that can go there like that. Okay, now you could, if you don't want this bit, you could cover that. So at this point, you could take some tape and stick that down so that these two pages are basically stuck together already, and then put them into your book. Okay, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to leave them like that. But this is going to be the center of my book for the now. And I'm going to put it behind that page. Now, these pages are rounded off. I did this a long time ago before I stopped liking rounded corners. Everybody goes through that phase when they get a corner rounder, round all the corners, and then you go, no, I don't like rounded corners, actually. So I'm going to leave them. Some papers are going to be rounded, some aren't. My Moleskine papers are pre-rounded. These printed ones aren't. I'm just going to do a mix, and then the next time I won't bother with any of it. So these are inside signature pieces as well. But if you look, because this book is slightly wider than this book, I don't know if you can see that, but this hangs out there. It's quite a big overhang. So this can go nearer the front of the book. So everything I do, I'm measuring relative to everything else I've got. So I've got two of these, so I'll put one there, and I'll put one, I've already got some writing at the front of the book, so I want to keep these two together. So I'll put that one there, and then we'll put two, and then I'll put that one there. And we've got the outside, yeah, the outside and the inside. Now this may seem a bit faffy, constantly pulling it out and putting it back together and pulling it out and putting it back together. But trust me, it's a whole lot easier to do it this way than to just start trying to make everything fit, and then you've got bits of paper flying out all over the place. Currently, this is actually quite even. I'm pretty happy with how even that is. That wouldn't even bother me. I wouldn't even bother fixing it up, because eventually that paper will just dog ear and then it'll all fit in. So, you know, that wouldn't bother me at all. Might bother you. If it bothers you, that's fine. Go and do something about it. So this is plain, and this is a wide piece. This could make a good pocket for the front and back. So I'm going to put it there for now. Let's use the... Now, think about how you want your pocket to look. If you have a pocket on this side that's there, that's only going to take longer pieces of paper because you won't be able to reach down into it. This is much more useful on this side. So if we make that side there, we can trim that bit off, and then we've got a whole extra piece that we can use to edge something else. Okay, so again, just lining it up with the bottom and that edge where it will stick to eventually. If I was a junk journaler, I would be making this pocket as a page first, probably sewing it together, but I'm not, so I'm not. I'm going to fold it in half using my ruler and the pre-folded cover. And now I have a crease. That means I can push it down in there, tight. And I can cut this bit off. And by cut, I mean Oops. Oh, it's printer paper, it's not scrapbooking paper, it doesn't cut as well, it doesn't tear as well. But that now becomes my outer edge. Okay, so far, so good. Have a quick flip through. So we've got a potential pocket or something. I think probably a pocket. Actually, I kind of like that side better. Coffee stains are nice, but I like this side better, so I'm going to turn it around because this side could now be the inside cover. So that could potentially be somewhere I stick something like that on, or cut this down and put it in as a pocket because that's the right length, that's the right height. So I could have it so that it goes in and out, so I can take it out and use it further in the book, or all sorts. So that's an idea for that. But then I've got a little pocket at the back where I can tuck photos and things that I want to use in my book later. And I like the blue. I'm not worried about the white edge because I can always fancy that up later. Sorry, I keep putting my papers on top of my board here and it's sending the screen a little bit crazy. So, just do an initial flip. We've got a few pages. Let's see what's going on. So I've got my calendar and my big calendar. And I've got some pages and pages and my astrology. Doesn't really matter where in the book my astrology is. So I'm not worried about keeping all of those three together. It's just these ones that I want to keep together. In fact, in order to facilitate that, I think what I'll do is just pop a paper clip on it so that I don't accidentally stick something in between these and then get annoyed with myself. Because I do want those together. That's my calendar, my bullet journal calendar, and my full appointments calendar. I need those in the front. So if I just clip those together like that for now. Keep those out actually because they might be useful in a minute. Okay. I've got 2 pages, then I've got some bullet journal pages. I've got some my moon stuff and astrology, some more moon pages, drawing pages, drawing pages, drawing pages. Doggy! How cute is he? And then inside page, more doggy, inside page. And then this side will be this bit. So what can I do with this bit to make it a bit more stable? Well, I have various options. She's going to have something stuck to her. So she's an option. I could stick her because she's the right width. Just stick her on there. And then that basically turns that into a page then, you see. If that's stuck on there, that's a page. Other options I can audition. I have her, but she's the wrong way round. I need something on the back of this. She might be better stuck to something. So what if I stuck that onto there? What if I stuck that onto there and then had this on the back? And then stuck this with this. And then this. It's a shame it's covering his tail. What if I did it this way? No, I can't do it that way, can I? No, I can do it that way. Hang on. Logistics. Let's think about this. If we did it that way, she'd be on that side, which is where I prefer her. So that could work. Stuck her onto there, and then that would go that way. No, then that would be there. That's not what I wanted. Is that what I wanted? No. No. What happened here? What happened? Okay, whichever way I do that is going to cover too much of the dog. So that's not going to work. But I like the idea of putting her on there. I could even trim her down a bit and turn her into like a little thing like that. She's very Marie Antoinette, isn't she? I like her. So I could put that together. What have I got? Have I got a single page? Ah, I've got a single page here. And I've got the tree page. Oh, that's the other side. That's going on that. That's a right-hand side page. So that needs to go that side. I've got the bird. I've got the bird. What's on the back of the bird? The bird just has paper on the back. Is the bird the right width? Let's have a look. The bird is the right width. It's a tiny bit wider than I actually want it. Am I confusing people? I hope not. Remember, this is for the more advanced people that understand how to fold paper in half and make a book already. If this is making you want to hit your head off the wall, stick with just folding papers in half and chopping off the edges or folding them in. So if I put that there, if that was there, that would cover there like that. Oh, I quite like that. Okay, so I can make this into a little baby page. So now I've figured it out. Here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to chop her down a little bit so I get that nice background. Let's chop her. There. Don't throw your bits away. You can use these. They're great for covering things up. Covering up seams and stuff. Okay. Let's, I don't know where my corner rounder is, so I'm just gonna, this flush, and I'm just gonna wing it. Because I'm too lazy to walk over there and go and find my corner rounder. Okay, I think that looks cool actually. Now this paper is very, very thin because it's magazine paper, so there's no point turning this into a pocket. But if it was better paper, I could just glue around this bit and this bit and this bit, and then leave that so you could have something tucking in there if you wanted to. I'm not a tag girl. I do use a lot of journaling cards, but not tags. Not that there's a massive amount of difference, but this is a journaling card, and cards tend to be a little bit bigger. Even that size is too big for a journaling card. And I could, you know, this is quite a decent width. I could even fold this in half and have a journaling card on either side of my signature if I wanted to. You know, I don't have to do all of this. It's just that I quite like her on that background. I want to get as much of her hair in as possible. Yeah, I like that. Let's trim off this white. I can see. And there. Isn't necessary. This is me faffing. And I've got the shakes today, so that's not helping. Okay. Now, let's glue her down. So let's get some Pritt stick. Pritt stick! stick monster, Pritt stick monster. Remember, be generous with your glue. Cover the whole page. If you get lumpy bits in your glue, squish them out. And when you stick it to the paper, get your air bubbles out. That way, you won't be coming back in a couple of weeks' time going, oh, my glue doesn't work. My glue stick's rubbish because it all keeps coming undone. It's an air dry glue. Therefore, if you get air in with your glue under your paper, the glue will dry out and you'll get an air pocket. And when the air pocket gets warm, it will expand and it will push the glue, and then the glue will come unstuck and you'll go, oh, Pritt stick's rubbish. It's not rubbish. You just don't know how to use it. Okay. Let's get it nice and flat. And then get something flexible, like a credit card or a Starbucks card. I have so many of these Starbucks cards because I just keep nicking them because I think, oh, I could do some more of them for collage. Okay. Once that dries, that's not coming off. Trust me. It's just not coming off, okay? Now this is where the bend is going to be, but that paper is nowhere near thick enough to sew. It's thin little magazine paper. It's really thin even for magazine paper. What I'm going to do, I quite like the white edge on this. I can use that for decoration later. So I'm going to, let's measure this for the width. So if I put that to there, and then fold this over this side, like that. So now I've got two bits that are going to fold over on each other that way. I probably should have done it that way. So he was on that side, but never mind. I like the pink paper on this side. Now, when you're scoring this bit of paper, don't use your thumbnail. You don't want to create a cut in the paper. You just want to thin it down, especially if it's really thin paper like this. So that will now go in there, like that. Let's fold onto there, and that will make a signature, okay? So I'm going to chop that bit, and actually I quite like that torn bit, so I'll leave that. But this bit I'm going to take off. So that'll stick to there then. So an easy way of making this so that it will be okay to bind, since we're going to cover that anyway, is to grab a bit of washi tape. And I just happen to have a nice wide bit of washi tape that would be perfect for this. So I'm going to strengthen this edge and this bit of paper. With some wide washi. Again, if you want your washi to stay stuck, get the air bubbles out. And then we'll refold that, and straight away that is way more sturdy. Now we've got 3 pieces of paper that are going to be there. Is it going to be 3? Yes, it will be 3. Okay, so this bit I'm going to stick to here now. This is a rare bit of constructing a page. I wouldn't normally bother with this kind of stuff, but I need to put these 2 bits in without having to do art with them right now. So if I do this, it just makes it into a bigger piece of paper, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's stuck onto there now. And this bit is going to go down. Onto there. Okay, so we now got a signature, see? The washi's in the middle, and now I'm going to put another piece of washi down that middle piece. So we've now got 3 bits to sew through. 3 thin pieces of paper are better than 1 thin piece of paper. I'm not going to line the washi up. I'm just going to line it up this way. I'm not going to line the patterns up because it's semi-transparent. So actually that'll give a good, see how that gives an interesting pattern under there? There we go. Fold it in half. Now I have a page that I can put in my book. And I think I want her near the front. So I want her on the left. So if I fold it that way, this ledger piece will be near the front, which is probably more useful for it. And then this will be near the back, which is probably, again, more useful for it because that will be something that I cover up with like a big picture or something. I could literally print a big picture out and stick that on there, or use that as a pocket, or reinforce it with another journaling thing or whatever. So where would she look pretty? He's in the middle with the inside section. Need to sort him out. He needs another piece as well. How about popping her straight in there? So she's kind of a pink Brigid. So when I do my IMOLC stuff, I could do my IMOLC writing here, and I've got my Brigid already there. And then the back of the signature, that's going towards spring, because this will be the end of February. This is towards March. That's when the blue tits start to arrive. So that will be good. I like it. Okay, what else have we got? I'm going to take Doggy out for a second while I figure out what else I'm going to do. But he's basically going to go behind this inside thing. But he keeps coming out, so he's kind of annoying me at the moment. So we've got maybe talking about IMOLC, and then a place, and then moons and astrology. I probably won't use that page for art because it's got stamping on the back and it came through. So I'll probably stick something on there. So let's have an interesting page in here. What can we use? Let's use, I kind of like that pink actually. That pink would be nice with her, wouldn't it? Let's use that pink, those pink roses. This would be nice right after her. Yeah. So this is going near the back of the journal. So I'm going to use the back cover. See how you're using the inside or the outside, depending on whether it's nearer the back or the front. Just makes it easier to work out how wide your papers are going to be. So this is way too wide, but it's also so wide that it's actually got an extra inch here. Now that's useful. So I'm going to line it up on this side, do the same as I did before. My ruler, actually it's easier if I do it this way. I can see where the crease is. So if I put my ruler there, that's better. So I put this on top of my paper, line it up to the edge so it's straight. Put my ruler along the edge of the crease, and I can lift this up and crease it. Thin paper, you don't need to use a bone folder for. Thicker paper, you do. And if it's going to be on the outer edge, then you really don't need to. I quite like that as the front piece, actually. Yeah, let's use that near the front. Okay, height-wise, it's perfect because it's A4 and these are A5 slim. So A5, Moleskine Large is A5 Slim, Midori Traveller's Notebook is A5 Narrow. At least according to Little Raven Ink. I don't understand it. I don't understand. To me, it seems illogical, Captain. How can it be A5 if it's not A5 size? It's like a pseudo A5. Why not give it a different name? I don't know. But A5, this is A5 Slim, and then Midori Traveller's Notebook is A5 Narrow, which, when you open it out, is 8x8, incidentally. That's a nice, easy one to do. It's 4 inches wide here. And then it's 8x8 when you open it out. So if you've got 8x8 scrapbook papers, you just fold them in half, sew them up, and you've got a traveller's notebook. Simple as that. And if you want to, you can then cut them the edge down to make it match. But I quite like this in that front edge. When you open the book, that's what you see. Does it go with the blue? If the blue's there, no. If the brown's there, oh, the brown goes. There you go, the brown goes. Okay, so I'll go back to my original plan of having it that way round. If they're printed papers, I can always reprint the blue. So if I have it that way round, and then this, and then these. So this can be my introductory page for February. And then I've got the pretty pinks, and then February's events. I like that because I can put February's calendar here. In fact, I could put February's calendar. February's calendar is floral, isn't it? I could even print this out a little bit smaller, like do it that size, put it on a bit of washi and put it as a flip. Or even on here as a tipping with something else underneath. So lots of options there. I like that. Is my train of thought driving you all mental yet? Because this is what my brain is like all the time, except it's usually working on something else as well. This is a very controlled version of what it's like in my head all day, every day. Except I'm usually watching YouTube, talking to the dogs, and trying to figure out something else in my head as well while I'm doing this. The only reason I'm not trying to figure out something else is because I'm talking. If I wasn't talking, I'd just be figuring something else out. My brain doesn't know how to do one thing at a time. I like that. I think that's really cool. What do you think? So February, all about, obviously, the month of romance, because it's Valentine's Day and all that crap. We've got the candles and the fire for Imolc right at the beginning of the month. You open it up, you've got this lovely warm, but not too warm. It's warm, but it's not too warm. It's faded warm. It's kind of pale warm. And then into, again, pale warm, cozy. You know, you might have dried flowers like this in your home that you're hanging on to since last summer that are starting to see better days, and you're looking for the spring ones. I like this. It's kind of a theme without being a theme. Then I've got my 2 pages of calendar. And then we're into, again, this warm theme. So I've gone from blue to warm. I've gone from blue to kind of pinky brown and yellow. Yeah, I like it. Then we've got Bridget. That's probably where I'd want my Bridget pages, to be honest, I think. Let me see, have I got a better page that would go with her? What's that look like? Kind of like that. That picks up the brown and the red. Yeah, let's use that one. Or is that one? Oh, that one might be better because it's not quite as dark. Yeah, let's use that one. And there's lots of white on the edge of this. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm just going to fold it in half. I'll measure it against this. Let's just trimmer. This was an excellent purchase for £9.99, I'm telling you. And it's got scorer as well. You can put stuff in it and score it, or you can put stuff in it and cut it. But for £9.99, you can't go wrong, really. And you can get like 14 blades for £8. So I'm basically set for the next entire year for 20 quid. So if you don't hold it down, you can just score it. And if you push, it cuts. And it goes through up to 12 pieces of paper, this one. Which means it's cardstock. Okay, so those strips, we don't throw strips away. We'll put strips over here with these strips. You can always use strips. They're basically washi tape at this point. Which side was I going to use? That side. So that was going to go there. That's going to go there next to her. And then that bit goes back in there. You might not feel it necessary to keep putting your book back together and then checking it and taking it apart again, but I do, because I suddenly find that I've got too many pieces of colour together, and I know that I don't want more than 3 or 4 pieces of colour before I have a piece of drawing paper, because otherwise I'll be flipping backwards and forwards. Is my cutter on my Amazon list? Yes, it is. I think so. Oh, I might not have added it to my shop list yet. I'll add it to my shop list. Let me write that down. It's on my wish list because I had it on there so that I knew where to find it. But oh, I've got a couple more I need to put in there. It's Thursday. 24th. It's nearly my birthday. Did I mention that? It's nearly my birthday. Add trimmer to shop. It's a super cheap one, and there's like 3 or 4 different ones that are made by the same no-name brand or similar no-name brands. Like this one's by Feurbon. You can total news to you. What, Mika? It's my birthday on Tuesday, 29th. It's my birthday Tuesday, okay? Tuesday, it's my birthday. Anyway, so that looks okay there. I like, again, it's not sticking out too far. It's usable, because by the time I've added photos and stuff, this one started off all pristine and neat edged, see? And by the time I've added photos and stuff, it doesn't match anyway. So if it's slightly off, it really doesn't matter. If it bugs me as I'm going, I can always trim it down or fold it in or whatever. But quarter of an inch margin of error is perfectly fine. Now let's go to the back here where this bit is. This is the other half of the roses. And what I'm going to do with this piece, let me take that out for a second. I'm going to fold this bit back up into the cover. And this piece, always make sure it's right down as far into the binding area as you can, because when you sew it, obviously the threads are going to pull everything into the spine. So if it's not quite in the spine or it's not quite straight, it's going to be a mess. If you want a mess, make a mess. That's fine. Do it however sloppy you like. But when it comes to binding, I like my bindings to last. So I actually do take care with my bindings. Anyway, this one, I'm going to fold this flap in instead of tearing it off. And then I'm going to refold it over there. Fold it down so that it's flat. So now I've got that, and that will work because now I have an extra bit. You know, I could, if I need to add an extra page, I've got somewhere to add an extra page to and make a tip in. If I want to cut that in half and add envelopes, I can. If I want to sew it down and make a pretty border, I can. If I want to stick it down on the edges and make a tuck spot to put another piece of paper into, like that, I can. I've got all sorts of things I can do with that 1 inch of paper. So if you've got a decent size, obviously this depends on the size of your book. For an A4 book, this probably wouldn't be much use as anything more than just something to either stick another piece of paper onto or use to add a journaling card or something like that. You couldn't really use it as a pocket. It would need to be twice the width to be twice the height. But for a little book this wide, whatever I tuck in there is going to be held in that much space. So that's more than enough. And I'll just leave it loose for now like that and worry about it later. So again, my book still looks pretty good. So let's have a flip. And again, I will distress or change or alter these pages as I go. I'm not edging this and cutting corners and doing whatever. And, you know, if I want to come to it and I think, oh, that'd look nice with a ripped edge, then I'll rip the edge. I'm not doing it right now. Because if I do it right now, I'm Aquarian, right? I'm not going to use this until about a week, maybe a little bit more, 10 days. 10 days time, I'll have changed my mind and I'll want something completely different. I might not even like this paper and I might cover it up, you know. I mean, come on. I don't think that far ahead. I like these two together. I think that's really nice. That'll be a nice page to do IMOLC stuff on. And then if I want extra writing paper, I can cover that because it's upside down as well. I didn't even notice that now, but never mind, it doesn't matter. And then we've got these, and there's my astrology. Those two need to keep together, don't they? I knew I'd need some more pins at some point. So I need to keep those two together, but that doesn't mean I couldn't put an envelope in there because a smaller piece of paper is always useful. So what have I got? Actually, no. Yes. No. Maybe. What else have I got? I've got all these anthropology type papers, so I could just shove these in anywhere really. I like that. That'd be nice as a book list, I think. Maybe it's a page for book lists, and then these I can play with. And these are slightly wider pages. So I can trim a little bit off those because they are a little bit too wide. 1/2 inch is too wide and not wide enough. Oh, I could do both at the same time because my book can do that. Let's trim about there. Yeah, 4 pieces went through like it was butter. Love this thing. Why have I gone so long without a trimmer? Yeah, so that's nice. Actually, that might be nice there because I could stick something on top of that and use it as a border like this is, couldn't I? And then that would go with the books. Yeah, I like that. Let's do that. And then we've got this. Let's put that one in there. Oh, it's too plain, too plain. Too many plain pieces together. Let's put that one in there. That's nicer. Take 1/2 inch off that one as well. There, that breaks that up. And then let's go from the inside to the outside. Okay, this is the inside piece. Now I quite like this as a piece to go right across the page, actually. I quite like that as a front piece. In fact, hold that thought. Coming back in a second, hold that thought. Hold that thought. That. And somewhere I've got something else I can use. Hang on. Hang on, hold that thought too. Hold that thought too. Let me move Alice out of the way. Oh, you fit in that hole there, Alice. That's cool. Alice fits in holes. How about that? What else have I got? Oh, treasure box of paper. Okay. So I've got in here somewhere, I've got come on, I know you're in here somewhere. No, no, no. Gosh darn it! Where are you? Aha! No, that's not. There we go. Is that what I'm looking for? No, that's photo paper. That's self-laminating paper. That's card paper. That's sticker paper. Trace down paper. Sketch paper. Canvas paper. Photo paper. Texture paper. Laminating paper. Random bits of whatever that is. Watercolor paper. Pastel paper. Blotting paper. I've got everything but tracing paper, which is what I'm looking for. Really big canvas paper. More laminating pouches. Different size. Hang on, we're getting there, we're getting there. Toned paper. Multi-sketch. Bloody hell. Ugh. Okay, it's not in here after all that. That's annoying. To look for that later. Okay, I'll look for that another time. I've got some tracing paper, which is basically like vellum. But in the meantime, what I have is acetate. So let's put acetate in this one. If I thought about it in advance, this is actually printer acetate. I could have printed something on it. Those roses would have been nice on with printer acetate, wouldn't they? You know what? Let's find something. Let's find something quick to print out. It's got to be something nice on Pixabay that'll look cute. Hang on. Okay. Stop share. Share portion of screen. Ha! Okay. Let me just get this organized here. Bit of inception going on. Okay, Pixabay in action, people. Pixabay in action. Oops. I've got a big pile of paper that's sliding off the desk. Hang on. There we go. Okay, what do we want? I don't want anything too flowery. I quite liked the vintage backgrounds I was looking at earlier. So let's find, I want a sideways one, horizontal. I want it, no, I don't need to set the size. Let's look for nature and landscapes. Yeah, let's try nature and landscapes. Well, that's pretty, look at that. Save that one for later. That's really pretty, but it's in the middle, which means it'll be in the middle of the book. The fold would be in the middle there, which is a bit kind of pointless, although it would be on 2 pages then. I like that one. I starred that one earlier. That's the pink one that I printed, but I cropped it to there. That's the blue one. That's the other blue one. There's the music notes. You can see I didn't get very far. That's as far as I got. That's quite a nice all over pattern. I wish it didn't have the stripes on it though. That's pretty. It's square though. Does that matter? See here, it always says free for commercial use, no attribution required. I'm going to download the biggest size so I can resize it. And then I'm just going to open it in Viewer. Actually, let me go up here and then you can see what I'm doing in my menus. There we go. So, file, print. It's going to print that way. It's going to be in the middle and then it's not going to reach the edges. And then these bits are going to be spare. If I print it borderless, here's the A4 borderless, that gets rid of that white bit at the bottom, which I think I prefer. Yeah, I think I'll print it like that. So there's gorgeous pictures on there and they're all made by people or scanned in by people and edited. So, and it's all free. There's no need to pay for stock images for personal use or anything. Okay, pop that in my printer. Out the way, boo-boo. You're in the way, sweet pea. Come on, move your bum. Move your bum. You're in the way. You want me to boot the snoot? Sneeze. You didn't sneeze. Oh, you did now. Move your bum. Good boy. You're in the way. There you go. Oh, you're such a good boy, you are. Hello. Is it potty time? Do you need to go potty? You can start shouting at me in a minute. Okay. Okay, so A4 borderless. Normal setting. Oops. No, A4 borderless. There we go. Paper handling. Nope. Paper type and quality. That's what I want. Paper type. Other photo inkjet papers. Normal quality. I don't want it to be too, I want it to be see-through. I don't want it to be too, I'm going to print it draft quality so that it's more opaque. see what happens, shall we? Hi, Boo-Boo. Hello. Hello, Boo-Boo. How are you doing? Hello, friend. Hello, friend. How you do? Won't we open the door so you can go back to bed? You can go back to bed as long as you don't bark at people, okay? You're okay. Come on then. I'll open the door and you can go back to bed. But don't bark at people, okay? No barking at people or you'll be in trouble. Now Maddie's sat in the middle of the room scratching her bum. Come on, move. Okay, that's going to need a little bit of time to dry, even though it is inkjet paper. It's going to need a little bit of time to dry. So, right, we can go back to, yeah, Pixabay is well worth going and having a look around because just beautiful stuff. Absolutely gorgeous stuff to play with. And did I mention it's all free? All right, let's work with this bit of blue here. Oh, my coffee paper needs to go back in under there. So this one has white bits on the edge. And I want the whole butterfly. The butterfly is going to hit the middle of the book, but that's okay. So I'm going to trim off these edges on the sides. I don't think I can. I can trip the top. I can trim the top and bottom off, but if I do that, it won't fit the paper quite. It won't fit the book. It won't be A5. But it might look better if I take that off. Now, this bit we can throw away, okay? You don't have to save all your scraps. Just most of them. That bit we can throw away. Of course, if it was patterned paper and it had a nice pattern on it, I'd probably still use it and stick it down somewhere because that's me. Actually, no, I'm going to see how wide I need to cut it and then I'll cut that off and then I'll have a bit. So let's put that right in the middle, like that. Make sure it's all the way down. Fold it over. Make sure it's still in there. Fold that bit over. Now I know where that needs to be cut. See, there was method in my madness. That crease in there. Where did it go? There it is. A wide bit now we can use. If that paper on the back had gone with it better, I could have just folded that up and turned it into another tuck spot, but it's upside down on that side. No, it would have been there, but it's it doesn't go with that paper, so we'll have something else. So there's the inside spread, which I think is very pretty. I like that. That would be lovely as like just journaled on. That would be pretty. But if you want to do a double page spread with pictures or something on it, that would be really cool. I'm going to cut this white bit off. It's bugging me. My hands are losing their grip. I'll have to stop in a minute for a break. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're nearly at halfway. Let's do it that way. And then it'd be easier to see what I'm doing. The border's the same on both sides. Oops. Always do that. Get stuck in it. That's why it was catching. So that is now the centerpiece. And then on either side, we've got this, which again is nice for journaling on. I've also got this, which is quite cool. This might be nice in the middle. Again, another goddess type page. This is from another book. This is from a painted art book that I painted one side, and I really liked this image, but I wanted to take the book apart. So I cut this down and I thought, I'll use that in my book. So, and then I've got text on the other side. I can do all sorts of things with this. So that's quite plain. That'd be nice next to that. And then we've got the blue, and then we've got that. And then we've got the dark. And then we've got the bright. I like that. Again, it's a little bit, it's a little bit too wide for the middle of the book. Maybe I'll put her a bit further up this way. Let's put her, that's astrology. Let's put her in there. And let's put the acetate in here. Oh, ow. Is that pretty? It's dry. So that's what it's going to look like. I think that's gorgeous. So that on that side is going to be that way round. So I want it to be on this side, I think. Do I? No, I quite like it that way. She looks all right the other way around. No, that way. And then I can stick this bit down. That's a better idea. Okay. Hold that thought. Acetate came out really well. This is inkjet acetate and it's rough on one side, which is kind of cool. It adds a little bit of something to it. Okay, and you can see once it's printed, it's no longer shiny in one place. Well, it is shiny, but it's not like super shiny. You can see the difference. So you can see to cut it. Don't throw away your scraps. We'll use those later. I printed it borderless, so the top and bottom, I don't have any gaps. Where's the edge? Not so easy to see on this side. It's a bit fainter. There she is. Okay. Now the center of the picture is offset. The center of the picture is not even. So if you look at this, you can actually see that that is where the fold should be. Sorry, can you see with the glare? See where the fold should be? So I could fold it here in the middle, but then that bit will have a bit of foliage on and this bit will be half a picture. Or I can fold it there with natural picture thing is and have a small pocket and a big flap. That I prefer. So I'm going to line this up so it's straight on the top. I'm lining it up with this sheet of paper. I'm going to grab my see-through ruler because it'd be easier to see what I'm doing. I'm going to put it along the line there. And then I need my roundy bit. It's a technical term for a tool that I do not know the name of, but you use it in Pergamo craft where you're rubbing on stencils to make patterns on tracing paper. It's got a round edge. And if you use the big round edge, you can use it to score acetate quite nicely. Scoring is necessary for thicker papers or hard, stiff papers like this, because literally what it does is it takes the thickness of the paper like that and it scores it so that it becomes like that. So it makes it easier to fold in the middle. So it goes from being a thick piece of paper like that, squishes it down into a thin bit, and then you can fold it. See my technical bits there? It's all high quality technical show and tell advice on this show, I'm telling you. Okay, so acetate will slip. So hold it firmly as you score it. You have to be a little bit dexterous with it. Once it's folded down, it'll be okay. But again, hold it firmly, and then you will need to score it firmly with, you know, the credit card that you had here earlier that now has disappeared. There it is. Again, Starbucks cards are really good for this because they bend. So you can get a decent amount of pressure, but you can't press too hard. Okay, tool on the floor in Maggie's bed. Sorry, baby. You thought I was a techno. Yeah. Okay, so let me look at this bit of paper. That way round, the writing is the wrong way round. So if I put her that way round, the writing is the right way round, and I can stick her so that she becomes somewhere I can put journaling cards or a pocket or photos or whatever. I could even just stick her along the bottom or sew her along the bottom and turn her into a secretarial pocket. So I think that's a better way to go with it. Okay, so where's my blue one gone? Where's my blue page gone? There's my blue page. So there's my blue page, and then I've got a white page and a white page. That will probably have something in there. Let's put it over that text to make that more interesting. Are you enjoying this, guys? Am I boring you to tears or anything, or are you just finding this a fascinating process? My brain works in mysterious ways. Its wonders to perform, to paraphrase a well-known quote. You're enjoying it, okay. As long as it's entertaining, that's all right. As long as you're learning something, that's good. Still fairly neat on the edge, nothing too crazy. I mean, obviously it's getting a little bit chunky now, so some of the pages are sticking out. But again, you don't ever want to cut off the edges until you've got it sewn together, because I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but can you see the gaps? Like, these pages are not as tightly together as they will be when they're sewn. Even a millimetre will make a difference. So you don't want to chop the edges off, especially if it's like this and you want it to be nice and even. Do not chop those edges off until you've already got it sewn together. Just don't do it. Trust me on this. Ask me how I know. You're getting lots of ideas. Excellent. I see you taking notes, Mara. I do. I see you taking notes. I like it when people take notes. It means there's good stuff coming that's going, oh, because even if you don't learn something from me, it's just something that you've already done. But as I'm doing it, you think, oh, she could have done that. And then you go, oh, I can do that. I could do that. I could do that. You know, even if it only gives you an idea, then it's been worth it. And that's mostly, I think, what people come to classes for, is to get ideas. It's not really to learn anything. If you wanted to learn something, you'd be doing a bookbinding course, wouldn't you? So, and then I've got my 2 calendars, and I've got that journaling card. She's so pretty. And then, yeah, something needs to go there. I don't like that page. That's too dark. That needs something on it. That needs breaking up. So I'm going to put that in there. Those two are too dark together. Even for me, that's too dark together. I don't like this paper, that's the thing. But if I put white on top of it, I can stick it together, or I can stick another piece of this paper onto here and it'll look like that then. So I could do with some colour. I need some more colour there. Starting to get a little bit on the chunky side. So I think we're getting to the point now where we could have, I don't like that contrast. Goes from subtle, muted to white to boom in your face. So let's put something in there that will take that edge off. Now we've got subtle, white, subtle and brighter bits, subtle, and that takes the edge off that brightness there. I like that. And then it goes back to text, and we've got her there to take the edge off that. We've got white page, and now we need something in here because this is all white now until we get to the middle. So these bits need breaking up. So how about our dog? Where's my dog? Where's my dog? Because this is about the 4th, this will be about the 10th of the month. So round about this point, I'll need to be reminded to be more dog. So let's have some more dog. There's more dog. There's dog. And somewhere here, I've got, would that work? That might work. That might very well work. Try that. And then I've got those two are going together. Or I've got her. The romantic Gainsborough. Again, would there be more dog? On the other half of the book. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Right, I'm going to trim down the edge of top edge of this because it just takes her feet off otherwise. So let's trim just along this line here. Yeah. Okay. And then that will be line it up with the top there. Chop that off. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. I'm almost done with the signature. And then what I think we'll do is we'll take a quick break so everybody can go potty and grab another coffee or whatever. I don't have to talk for 10 minutes. And then we'll carry on and we'll do the sewing bit. Sewing bit's nice and quick. It won't take that long. She says, hopefully. I also want to take off, the page is too wide, but I need a bit to stick onto here as well. So let's make this easier. Just take these 2 pieces and move this out of the way. So it's going to be about the same width as this piece of paper. So I'm going to use this as a guide. So if I stick that on there, that that's going to be too wide. Oh, actually, if I take off that bit, if I take off this bit on this side, it should work. Oh, I don't want to take it all off though, because it'll take the page number off. I don't want to take all, I either want to take all the page number off or only a bit of it. I don't want to take, no, I either want to take all of it or none of it. I don't want to take a bit of it. So that would bug me. Okay, so if that, oh, so much easier if I could pick these up off the table. If that is that size now. Okay. Oops, he's not folded in properly. Hang on. Fold, darn you. Fold, I say. Fold. Fold, damn you hound. Dang nabbit. Okay. And now we can take off a bit of that white, and I reckon that'll leave about the same border on both sides. Because I'm awesome. Sorry if my head's in the way, I need to see over the top to get this where I want it to be. That's the best feature of this trimmer, because you have to push the blade down to cut. Like normally on a trimmer, you start pushing, and if you're not quite pushing hard enough when you hit the edge of the page, it catches on the edge of the page, and I hate that. But if you take this across and push it down and then back and forward, it creates a nice even cut. So you don't get any of that snagging on the edges. That's possibly my favourite bit of that trimmer. Okay, so now we'll slide that in there. That should be, Maddie, I don't know what you're doing, but it sounds gross. About the right size. It's a little bit wider. I could still potentially trim off that white bit on the edge. But let's see how well we manage to stick it together first. Because, you know, if we stick it together and it's slightly wonky, all bets are off. Okay, so I'm going to, now this is shiny paper. Pritt Sticker's not going to cut it. For this one, we need the big guns. Aleene's tacky glue. All crafters swear by different things, but the general consensus is that some jobs are a job for wet glue. So I'm trying it, but this stuff is twice the size bottle and a half the price, so 4 times basically, as the Fab-Attack that they all go on about, that is supposedly wonderful. This stuff I've used before. It does not smell, it dries clear, it's easy to use, and the bottle doesn't gunk up. I see a lot of them with that Fab-Attack saying, oh, my bottle's gunked up, or they've had to add acetone to it or something. And then they get volcanoes happening out the top, you know, when you turn your bottle the wrong way up and it's all volcanoing out the top. I've never had that with this stuff, ever. Because when you've got it like that, here's a tip. You've got stuff there, you've got it there, suck it back in. And look, the hole's clear. I've never had that happen to my glue. But they all say it does it. So it can't be the crafters, it's got to be the glue. Every single crafter can't be doing it wrong. You're not having like 5 or 6 saying it and then everybody else is like, oh, that's not to mine. They're all saying it. So either they're all using it wrong and like it's glue, how wrong can you do it? Or the glue is a bit odd, does weird things. So I'm just, oh, it's not quite aligned, but because it's shiny paper and wet glue, I can reposition it as long as I hold it firmly. There we go. Just hold that down. You don't need to do this with wet glue, but I always do it anyway. It's kind of a habit. If I start doing it with one glue and then the other, not the other, I would forget. So I do it with everything. And then I don't forget. So now I have a full page. Now that is calendar paper, and calendar paper, you can see where the printing is. Can you see where you've got the white core, where the printing is sloughing off? That tells you that that paper is not very strong. So on this one, I'm going to put a bit of washi tape on the outside. But I don't want anything that's going to cover her up. So I'm going to, oh, I didn't cut that very straight on the top there, did I? The bottom's straight, but the top isn't. Fix that, that'll bug me. I don't care about the sides, but the top needs to be flat. There we go. This needs to be clear, or it needs to be something that I don't mind covering. But whichever side I put the washi tape, it's going to cover something. So I think I will use my clear tape. I've got archival sellotape, which doesn't go horrible and yellow over time. That's not sellotape, that's masking tape. Let's try that one again. Where's my sellotape? Okay. So this stuff doesn't go yellow over time. It's horrible when you come back to something and your sellotape has gone all yuck. In the US, if you're lucky and you have access to that 2-inch wide packing tape, get that, the clear stuff. Our packing tape is brown here. We don't get clear packing tape. I wish we did, because that's archival. What we have is this 1-inch wide sellotape. So I'm going to use this. When I cut my tapes, I hold them like that, so that when I chop them, they don't curl up. Useful tip for you there. You do get finger marks on your tape though, so you know, you're not winning any forensic awards. Make that nice and even on that side, because that's where the picture is. I don't care what it looks like on the other side. Oh, that's going to just hit that paper nicely so that it just gives an extra little bit of bond. Excellent. And I've still got the free edge with the scraggly bits that I kind of liked. Get the air bubbles out of that as well. And that'll just be enough to strengthen that edge. Pull it apart on the edges. You know what? I'm not going to cut that off. I'm going to fold it up onto that side. Right up in the corner. You're not going to see it, but it will add an extra little bit of strength to that fold. It's clear tape, so it doesn't matter. And because it's already folded, you can get it lined up with the crease properly, so it lies flat. Just give a little bit of extra to that top edge, because that paper could split quite easily. There, isn't that cute? A reminder to be more dog. So that's going there. Going in there. And that goes in the middle. We're almost there. Let's have another look. That's going to be a pocket. And then we've got the calendars and that. Imolk. Something. Do with breaking this up. There's a bit too much. Too many pictures. That's ridiculous. You can't have too many pictures, but plain picture, plain, really big picture, plain, really big picture. You need something in the middle to break those up a little bit. So I'm going to put something there, and I think this might be the answer to that, because writing is a good way to break up pictures. So let's continue with what we were doing to this. So I'm going to continue tearing this off. Actually, that's a straight edge. I'm going to cut that. Let me continue showing you how I would make this piece of paper, what I printed on my printer, look old. It's got a folded edge there. That's the torn edge, and there. And this is straight here. Okay. I don't need to worry about that side. This side, the easiest way I've found is to lay your finger along it like that. And then you can get kind of a rough tear as opposed to a straight tear. Of course, if you've got one of those fancy rulers that cost 20 quid that's got a torn edge thing on it, you could do that with one of those as well. The kind of things that you see on QVC, and they're half the price. So you go and buy it, and it's only half the recommended price. It's still 3 times as much as it would be on Amazon. And then you've got a little bit here. Actually, I can't get my finger in there to do that, so I'm going to cut that bit out. A bit jagged. And then this is straight. Okay. A little bit too much white on these edges here. Let's pull that off. Kind of looks like something that was torn out of a page and written on, doesn't it? Of course, they used to do that with old books when they didn't have, when they ran out of letter paper, they'd take the front and back blank sheets out of a book. Okay, so this has got a fold here. Let's fold that there. Fingernails, oh, excuse me, fingernails to make it look a bit more vintage. Fold there. Got a fold there. Fold that way. Now, by doing all this cross stuff, what you're doing is creating a weak point at those crosses, which is what would naturally happen with a letter. So if you get in there with your fingernail, you won't even necessarily need to pull anything off. It will just thin out the fibres in the paper so it will feel more authentic. I should have been a forger. I could have made a fortune out of this stuff, you know. See how that's now starting to get a hole in it? It's going really thin and it's starting to get a hole. That's what would happen with a folded up piece of paper, right? Over the years, especially if it was folded and unfolded and folded and unfolded and folded and unfolded. If it was a meaningful letter, that might happen. It looks like this one was folded like that. and then like that, and then maybe folded like that to fit it in an envelope. Let's fold it down like that. Okay. Starting to look vintage already. I'm liking this. Let's do a few more corner bits here. Oh, I can't do that. I cut my nails and they're not long enough to do that with now. So I'll just chop them off. And that one doesn't have any bits missing, so let's just give it a tear. This has a fold up crease, so let's fold a bit more of the crease up. In fact, let's go to town on it. Let's fold it up a bit more and then fold it back on itself. Now it looks like it's always been creased. That one's got a bit of a tear in it. Let's take a corner off there. That one's got a tear. That one's got a chunk out of it already. That one's got a bit of a tear. Okay. Now I'm just going to take the edge of my scissors. Sorry if you don't like that noise. It will be over in a second. Don't need to rough up those edges. And honestly, the more you crinkle this and mess it up, the better, because that's the whole point, kind of. Crinkling it and messing it up. It really doesn't matter if you could fold it up like that way. You used to have to repair letters by that, like that. Cool. Did you used to work as a conservation thing in a museum or something? Oh, sorry, Jen, I didn't see you going. Bye. Now, if you've got these here things by the Holtzman, you can add a bit of extra to it. So old paper is actually this colour, so that's not going to work. The pink is nice, but it won't work on this because it'll make it look feminine. This is the tea stain, which is my favourite. A lot of people use vintage photo, which is nice, but it's a bit more sepia. This is a bit more kind of dark brown. So it's a bit warmer toned. It's kind of a golden colour almost. And this is my preferred colour. But, you know, use whatever you've got. Again, if you've got edges, get some on the edges. It doesn't dry particularly quickly either, so you've got the opportunity to smudge it about a bit. People do use blenders and stuff for this, but I don't bother because I'm too lazy to find it. I have a blender somewhere. I don't know where the hell it is though. Why would I know where my blender is? I mean, come on. But to be honest, I quite like doing this, so it makes it look rougher. It's been at the bottom of an old trunk for a while. It could easily have all these kind of markings on it. You don't have to go crazy with it all. And I'm avoiding those bits where it's torn so that the white core shows through, because that vintage writing paper had a white core, a lot of it. So, or at least it did here. Did it in America? Did your paper in America, your vintage paper in America, have a white core? Our paper, our quality paper was made with 2 layers. So when you bent it, you get a white core. Or are yours knitted fibres? Depends how the paper's made, you see. So I'm going to do this side now. Again, rough. I don't have to ink it to within an inch of its life to make it look old and tattered. I'm not the kind of person who holds with making vintage stuff look perfect. If it looks perfectly vintage, then it doesn't look vintage to me. Looks like an old letter. Book and paper. Awesome. Where you've put creases in, get some ink on there. Smudge it around with your fingers. I think that looks all right. So I've got lots of options with this now. I could fold it up and put it in the page. I could fold it up and put it in as just a piece of ephemera. All sorts of things you can do with stuff like this. I think I'm going to just put mine in the signature. Now, where will it fit? Let's put it that way. And then this bit will fold in. That'll hide that white core there. So I could sew that bit or glue it and use it as a tuck spot for something. And then this side, we've got colour, plain, picture, picture, writing, plain, picture. See, it breaks it up, makes it look less garish. It's like reducing the contrast. You've got a really dark picture and a white page, something middling in between will kind of break it up a little bit. So I've got a white page, I've got a blue page in the middle, I've got a white page there, I've got a white page there, I've got a white page there. That needs breaking up, doesn't it? Okay, so what have we got that I can put in there? Do I want to put anything? It'd be quite nice to have a 2-page spread for the white, I suppose. So let's put something in there. I've got this, that'll do. I saw that, I thought it looked like a Dalek. It's an invention. It's a Pope and Sons design for a Gothic engine. I don't know what a Gothic engine is. Illustrated London News, 1851. But that's kind of cool. Let's trim a bit off the edge of that. Yeah. That. That breaks that up, and then I've still got drawing space. And then let's put something here. So I've got, I like that green. And I kind of like this. That might look good there, like that, with the green, maybe. Oh, I know. Let's do it the other way, shall we? Okay, this is for really advanced. I may not know what I'm doing with this one, so. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a piece of paper there, and we're going to use this green piece to make another piece of paper there. Okay, that's the general idea. So let's take this bit off first. Okay. Like that. Here's my book. And I need a piece to size it by. So let's take the next piece up. Okay. That's actually the exact. Okay, right. I'll stop saying okay in a minute. Okay, okay. Let's put that bit there, lined up with the top. Let's put that bit there. Let's, you know what, if we take that off, just glue that on. Let me try and say that in English. If I take off the white bits, I can just glue the rest of it to the other thing. Trust me, I know I know what I mean, even if it doesn't sound like it. There's a tapestry, I think. It's part of the Unicorn, Lady in the Unicorn tapestries by, I don't know, they're in France somewhere, aren't they? What are they called? A history buff Andrea isn't here today. They're the Lady in the Unicorn tapestries anyway. Hence the unicorn. Not quite close enough with the white there. And because it's white core paper, I am just going to go round it with this. Actually, the pink would look nice. It's got pink in the paper, and I've got a kind of a pink thing going. I'm just going round the paper edge, not inking the page, just taking the white off the edge. Do you see what I mean? Just softens it up just a little bit. You know, I'm not trying to make it look vintage. I'm just trying to get rid of the glaring white on the edge of the paper where I've cut it. Paper generally has a grain one way better and smoother to fold. Yes. Any paper that you get, it's not so easy to tell with these smoother papers, but any thick paper that you get, or card or anything like that, when you fold it over and you press there, you'll find there's one way it bends really easily. And if you bend it the other way, you'll feel resistance like that. It'll try to unbend. Whereas this way, it's definitely trying to bend. It's trying to go with you. That's the way to bend the paper. And mostly books will be bent the correct way. If you bend it that way, you can see just from the way I'm trying to bend it there, it doesn't want to bend that way. It bends that way much easier. Good tip. Okay, so this can go on here. That is exactly the right size. How much overlap? Oh, there's plenty of overlap. So if I just, let me just mark with my pencil where the line is, so that I know where to put my glue. I'm going to cover all of this bit from this bit down with glue. I can always come back and add tape or washi, or even lift the edge and put some Aleene's on the edge of it if I feel like it needs it. But at the moment, I just want to position the papers. So get that lined up there on that edge. It's more important that it's flush on the bent edge. And then we've got a full page on one side. Are you impressed? I mean, come on. Come on. What would be really cute if you had your sewing machine handy was if you zigzagged along there, because it would look like you'd added the page to the paper. I think that's kind of cool, actually. Okay, now where's my white green bit? My green bit is actually the right size if I chop off that white. So let's chop that white off before we do anything. This edge is curled where it was in the book binding, so I'm just slicing it very slightly into the picture. I have an idea for this. Yeah, one of those. Okay, so obviously, if I just stick that bit there, that's not going to be enough to hold that piece in place, is it? And I kind of need a little bit of overlap as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to line this bit up. I'm lining it up at the bottom and along the edge. That's where we need to have glue. Are you ready for this? It's going to be stunning. Okay, line it up at the bottom, flush with that. It's just like fitting a jigsaw together. But you have to be careful at this stage because it is literally only stuck with that bit. So it's literally tacked together. It could come apart at any moment. Okay. Guess what I'm going to do now? Anyone? Anyone want to hazard a guess? I'll give you a clue. I find it interesting how you make your junk journal. Personally, I wouldn't really know what to use it for since I have 5 big subject book for journaling. Well, I just journal in this, but you could use it for anything. You could use it for a trip. You could use it for a particular thing you want to journal about. You could use it for a special event. You could use it for just putting pretty pictures in, an inspiration book. You could put all of this together, just pages that you find inspiring. You know, go through Pixabay and find pages like this that you find inspiring, pages like this that have got pretty backgrounds that you could stick stuff on, put them all together in a book and then start gluing in, use it like a glue book to glue in images that you really like. Like I've been hanging on to this for ages because I like the quote and I think she's gorgeous. She reminds me of Marie Antoinette. It says, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and do it, because that's what the world needs, is more people who've come alive. Howard Thurman. I love that. And that's very my jive at the moment. So, you know, anything like this, or if you've got old letters from friends, put them into a book like this and then put photos in with letters from that friend, bind the letters together and then add photos. Or fill in blank pages or vintage pages or, you know, anything you want to write on, and then bind it alternately with letters and then write memories about that friend or scrapbook about it or whatever, or, you know, your grandparents or something like that. You can do anything in these books. Get out of the idea, or, you know, don't listen to me. You have a very blinkered idea of, I have a journal. This is my journal book that I journal in. That is my journal. And if that works for you, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Do it. Some days I wish I was a bit like that. But it doesn't leave extra room for stuff. Like, what if you suddenly discovered a whole stack of pictures from a particular party or a particular event or something like that? Or you came across loads of old magazine clippings that you'd kept that you thought, oh, I really like these. But you don't want to take up space in your journal with them, do you? Is it relevant to right now? I guess if you like all the pictures right now and you think, oh yeah, actually I could use these for decoration, yeah, you could put them in your journal as you go. I quite often do that myself. But if you find a whole stack of them, why not do something with them to turn them into their own little work of art? You're thinking of journaling as a journal is a book that you write in every day, and you do some art, and you do a bit of this, and you do a bit of that, and you put some clippings in, you put some photos in, depending on what you like. Some people just journal, some people just write, some people treat it like a diary, some people treat it like a planner, like I do. Other people treat it like a commonplace notebook where they collect quotes, but they don't necessarily journal. Right, your journal is rigid with just writing and planning. Right, and if that's how you like it, stick with that. Obviously, that's how you like it. But if you've only got your writing and planning in there, and you've got a sketchbook, say, for art practice, where are you keeping all those other bits that are knocking around? Do you keep them? Do they have value? If you just throw them out, then whatever. But if you're the kind of person who's got, like, you go into your purse and you pull out the last 3 cinema tickets you went to, even though one of them was 2 years ago, then maybe you should do something with those. You've obviously held on to them for a reason. You know, I've got a lovely, that's what I'm planning to use my, you've got ephemera in a box. Yeah, so why keep it in a box? Why not turn it into a journal and display it so that you can flip through it? If you wanted to, you could even organize it and have it like a commonplace book. Like you could have a series for, you know, if you've got, I don't know what you could have, but maybe family photos. Maybe this could be family photos. Maybe this could be friends' correspondence. Maybe this could be, you know, precious memories, you know, the ticket stub you kept from your first date. Can't remember his name, but the film was good, you know. That kind of stuff, you know, a flower that you kept that you pressed between 2 pieces of tissue paper. Why not put it into your book under a piece of acetate and sew it under the acetate so that it's in your book and it's displayed and it's pretty instead of shoved in a box under your bed where you take it out maybe once every 3 years. If you've got it in a book that you're constantly working in and constantly adding to, then you're constantly looking at it and getting pleasure from it. It's kind of Marie Kondoing your journal, I guess. If it doesn't bring you joy, turn it into something that does. For me, having lots of memories stuck in a box where I only look at them once every 3 years doesn't bring me joy. Spending the time to enjoy putting them into a book, which is what I love to do, and make some art and make them look pretty and then have them in a book that says that I can just go through any time because I can have it out because it's a piece of art in its own right. That's a whole different thing. It gives it a whole new dimension for me. Some people just make junk journals for the sake of making junk journals. There's plenty of junk journals. If you check out Luna Rosu, she makes themed junk journals. My favourite is Madame Ming's diary, which she themed as if it was a Chinese woman. And she made it cover to cover, pre-decorated. So if you're one of those people that just writes and plans, then, you know, you can just get out your journal and write and plan in it. Or you could keep it as a special memories one. Maybe you write in it every birthday or every Christmas. You could have a Christmas journal, obviously, or a birthday, or, you know, just when something special happens, like a book of days kind of thing. What did they call them? Like a Victorian lady's book of days? Yeah. Or a commonplace book. You could keep it as a commonplace book and just put things in it that you like in that book. You know, you don't have to have everything in your journal. But yeah, if you've got loads of ephemera stuck in a box, I had somebody once say to me, but what about precious photos and stuff that you don't want to, quote, mess up by, quote, shoving them in a book? Let me ask you this. Is it more precious being tucked into the pocket of a book or mounted, because it's very thin, mounted onto a journal card, a pretty journal card, or perhaps a fabric pocket and just tucked into a fabric pocket, or even just paper clipped to a page with you know, you can get those coated paper clips that don't damage the paper. Is it better to have it like that? Is that more precious? Or is it more precious to have it shoved in a box under your bed? Because to me, and again, it depends how you look at it. To me, having it all shoved in a box under the bed where I never look at it is not treating it with respect. Therefore, it's not acting as if it's precious. If you've got it displayed in a book where it's protected and looked after, and if somebody found it, you know, if somebody found a box of old crap, unless they're like us, they're not going to go, oh, look, a box of old crap. Awesome. I totally would. I'd go, can I have this? That would be me. I would use it. But the average person would go, oh, look, a box of old crap. Toss. They wouldn't even look through it. And there's all your precious memories just gone in the wheelie bin because they only mean something to you. You know, that little piece of yellow ribbon that you kept from your cousin's christening when it fell out of her hair doesn't mean anything to anybody but you. So why not put it in a book and do a little bit of writing about it? Maybe put a picture of the cousin from the christening, or you playing with the cousin when she was older, or you with the cousin now, you know, then and now together because you're still best friends. And tie it with the ribbon and write on the back of the pictures about what the ribbon represents. Somebody picks up my Alice book, they're not going to look at it and go, oh, what's this crap? Well, most people wouldn't. They'd look at it and go, oh, this must have meant something to them, even if it doesn't mean anything to them, right? I've got a family album where there are pictures of me, but then also people I hardly know. Perhaps I can make a journal for that. Yeah, you could. Photo albums are just bland. You know, you could take all those pictures out of people that you don't know or people that you hardly know and make up a book about them. Treat it as an art project. Have some creative writing fun with it. Here's a picture of Uncle Charlie. Well, all you know about Uncle Charlie is that he's slightly older than your mum and he once went on a trip to Azerbaijan for a week. What did he do while he was there? Find some photos that go with it. Maybe he went on a trip. Maybe he fell in love and brought a bride back with him. Maybe he went out there prospecting for oil. Who knows? You know, make up stories about these people that you don't know and you're never going to know and you're never going to know anything about. Why not? It's fun. It's not about keeping a journal. It's about being creative. This is just how I happen to keep a journal a lot of the time. And this is what I want to do with my journal at the moment. Sorry, I got sidetracked there, didn't I? This piece of paper, what I'm going to do with it. Look, I'm going to put a piece of washi tape, because of course I am, to hold that bit together on the plain side. All you need is a little bit of imagination. Mika, if nothing else, make some pretty papers. You know, imagine, this is what Luna Rosu does. She picks something that gives her an idea. So she picked this picture, this postcard that was from a student in Paris to her mum. And she used that as a jumping off point. And she made a journal about Paris that was this girl's journal while she was in Paris. You know, with like, she made like vintage love letters from a boyfriend over there and, you know, letters from her mum back and all sorts of things, you know, things that she'd collected, a poster from the Moulin Rouge, you know, all that kind of stuff. Bits of lace. She gets old postcards, like the old coloured postcards. She did a video on it the other day, actually, on postcard inspiration. It's really good. That'll give you lots of ideas on how to do this kind of stuff. But she had a picture of a postcard with a woman in a really decorative outfit. And she said, if it's in colour match the fabrics and put, you know, just pin bits of fabric on as if it's, you know, if she'd made the dress or she'd kept the dress as a memento. You know, she's kept a bit of lace and some of the silk from the wedding dress, or from, you know, just a dress that she really liked that she wore that she outgrew or whatever. Stuff like that. It's always something you can do. Always something you can do. Okay, so what I'm thinking with this, because this is too wide, I'm thinking fold it over so that somehow this becomes a pocket. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do that. Oh, that's not very straight. What happened there? If I do it that way, that's going to be wider than that bit, which I think is going to look odd. So if I do it the same width as this, that'll be on that bit there, where that line is, where that text is. Let's fold it there. Okay. So it folds in that way. So now we've got a page that is a half page and a full page and a pocket. So what are we going to do with this little flap? Are we going to do anything with it? Yeah, we could stick it at the bottom and then it'll become another little tuck spot, another little page, won't it? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to refold it because obviously I didn't fold that very well at all, did I? Refold it. I'm going to stick this bit down. Honestly, Mika, I would concentrate on making a pretty journal. Concentrate on the aesthetic of just creating something pretty and then worry about what you're going to use it for. Because you might find that you enjoy how you've made it so much that you don't want to do anything with it. You just want to have it there to look pretty. I mean, it's a shame not to use stuff that you've made. I think I would rather use stuff that I've made. I don't believe in making stuff and then just leaving it unused. But if that's what you want to do, if that's what works for you, then, you know, why not do that? What's wrong with that? Okay, I'm going to put some glue along this bottom edge here. And what I like to do with my glue on these edges, I don't know if everybody does this, but I like to just rub the glue along, not to spread it out. I'm still only like 1/8 of an inch up the paper. I just feel it makes a better bond if you do that. And then, whoops, fold it over, stick it down. Yeah, just concentrate on making a pretty book and worry about what you're going to use it for afterwards. If nothing else, they make lovely gifts for females, especially females who like to write or journal. My mum's always worked for one of my books because she likes writing. She doesn't keep a journal or anything. She just likes writing notes. She uses them as notebooks. I'm just going to cut this back piece because this front piece I didn't cut straight. I cut it according to the picture. So I'm just doing the same now with the back piece so that it doesn't look weird. Okay, so now I've got I need to fold that there, don't I? So where's my bit of paper gone? Probably should have folded this before I glued it. That probably would have been easier, but never mind. Actually, it'd be easier if I bend it that way. There we go. Okay. So now I have a page with a nice picture on it and some paper, some writing, and a writing page with a little tuck. Could put a postcard in there or some photos or whatever, or you could just stick it down and use it as decoration. And then we've got plain paper, and then we've got a little pocket that you could put something taller into, a bit of a flap. You could even cut those apart later if you wanted to. Once the journal's made, you can start cutting things apart. I like that. So about an hour ago, I said we were going to take a break. Should we have a coffee? I haven't finished putting the papers together, that's the thing. Okay, let's have one last flip. Flip. and that, and then, whoops, let's take that off there. And then I've got this, and that, and that, and that, and that, there. Astronomy stuff, oops, astronomy stuff, that, nice little thing there. Be more dog, yay, be even more dog. And then you've got tuck spot. You've got a double page spread and a double page spread. Something to put photos on. Now we're going to have 2 double page spreads on this side. So I want to do something perhaps there to break up all those double page spreads. So how about if I put my bit of Winnie the Pooh vellum on that page there. In fact, I could just put it there as a flip up, just as a bit of decoration. I might do that. There you go. That breaks up that page. I'm the odd one in my family that writes, but I think I have an idea for an inspirational, motivational journal. Yeah, motivational journals, motivational quotes. Collect all the stories from your family. Get people to tell you stories and then rewrite them. If you enjoy writing. This is all very plain. This could do with something. It's a lot of plain there. Let me run back through that section. Because I've got to remember, I'm an artist. I normally have a plain book. So I don't want to have too many unplain pages. Plain, 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 a little bit of fun, plain, plain with an interesting bit, plain. Yeah, I don't want to overload my plain bits, but I don't want to have so many completely blank pages. I think one large sketch page is more than enough, to be honest. So, last thing I'm going to, my go-to when I'm not sure what else to do on a page. I usually just stick a bit of something like that on it, and then it's not a plain page anymore, but I can still draw on it if I want to. So let's have about there. This is going to be tricky to sew in. Normally I'd just stick it, but at the moment I don't know if I want to stick it down. Do I want to stick it down? Do I want to use it for something? Don't know. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Don't know. Actually, you know what? I can't be asked to cut it. I'm just going to stick it in there like that. Yeah, sod it. I'm just going to stick it in there. Let's put it about there. Too lazy. Can't be bothered. There we go. There's that bit. Bring it round here. Line it up. Fold it over. Fold that in. Done. Here we go. That is now my signature. So the next step is to sew it up. So if you want to have a break now is the time to do it. I'm going to switch cameras. Anybody else want to show what they've been doing? Anybody been playing along? Anybody been doing stuff? Anybody want to show what they've been doing? I'm going to stop recording for a bit so that it does the coffee. Coffee. Yes, coffee. Coffee.
Can I show you real quick what?
Yeah, I have to be quick. Show us what you've been doing. Let's have a, let me pin you, hang on. There we go, there's Mara. Oh, that's cute. Is that bunnies?
Just creatures. This is an artist. I printed a photo that inspired me, Mr. Finch. So I've just been.
Oh, Albert Finch.
No, he just goes by Mr. Finch.
Oh, right. I printed a picture from, or I had something from a museum by Albert Finch, and it was similar to that. It was like a doll sculpture made out of metal. It was really strange. Or is that just like a painting?
He does textile creatures and fairy tale stuff.
Oh, it could be the same person then.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like a man in a top hat, like a fabric doll, but it didn't look like a doll. It looked like a creature. And then he had a metal bike.
Oh.
It's very strange. Sorry, carry on.
He makes some great moths too, this artist.
It looks like a plush rabbit in a wheelchair.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
From here.
This just, that's the artist there.
Oh, she's like a mouse.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I like that.
So.
A little bit weird, but not totally creepy.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a nice page, actually. You've got a nice layout there. 3 areas of colour, all matching.
It was fun.
Excellent. Anything else you want to show us while you're on? No?
Nope.
Anybody else? Everybody's run off to go and get coffee. Recharge their phones. I've still got this bit actually. I might just, oh, okay, I've got this bit left over and I've still got this bit of writing paper bits, and then on the back it's a map and it's plain, and I kind of like that, so I might just stick those two together with some washi tape and turn that into a signature as well. I've also got that park picture which I really like, but I'm thinking I might actually use that on the inside of the book. So I'm going to stick these two together. You've seen how I do that now. You don't need me to show you again, I'm sure. Let me stick those together to go in there by that really bright. Yeah, let's do that bit there. I like that bit there. That's fine. So let's use this piece. That's about the right size. This is slightly easier because the papers are square. So I'm literally just folding them so that they fit the right size, and then I'll line up the folds and washi tape it in the middle. Rachel's been there and back again to the kettle. The kettle, there and back again. Oh dear. My alarm's going to go off at 8 o'clock, by the way. I set my alarm in advance to make sure that I didn't forget. Okay. Let's use that bit. I've got a square out of this, so I'm going to fold it here so that this is a full size page and this can be the spine because I'm going to washi tape it anyway. And then it won't look so odd as having a page with a corner cut out of it, which would look a bit weird. Are you not watching on the TV today? I set up the YouTube thing specially for you so you could watch it on the TV. Or are you in here so, oh, is this so you can chat? Okay. And that's going to cover that up. I don't want to cover that up, so let's do it that way. I'm going to cut this bit off. It's not big enough to do anything with, so I might as well just chop it off. And then I can stick that bit onto there. Let's put a bit of Pritt stick on it in the middle. And put some Aleenes down the side. Ah, right, okay. Get you with the technology. She's so good with technology these days, she can use two things at once. And a kettle. Oh, I suppose I could turn this on anyway, couldn't I? Just because you're not, just because I'm carrying on a bit and you can't see what I'm doing. But technically this is break time, okay? Technically we're on a break. It's from Friends, isn't it? We were on a break. Oh dear. But yeah, I have to stop in an hour regardless, or 50 minutes regardless, because I've got to do, I've got my groceries are coming. But that should just about be enough time to sew together. If it's not, we can finish it off on Saturday. But it should be just about right. Or, alternatively, we can stop. I can add bits and pieces of sewing to my book before I put it together and then show you what I've done to give you some more ideas before we bind it on Saturday. What do you think? Which would you prefer? Do you want some more sewing ideas and fabric play? Because I do have a couple of bits to this that I'd quite like to do before I sew it up, actually. Okay. So I need to put a bit of something there. But I could put that all the way across there, actually. That'd look quite cool. So let's put that there. Add an interesting edge to that top thing. No point in asking you questions, is there? Because you were gone off for a coffee. Okay. Yeah, that's stuck to me. Stop it. Get off. Okay, that's nice. I like that. That's pretty. And that's pretty. I like that. And that's pretty ugly. So. Oh. Let's not do that. How about if we put a strip of washi on here to cover up that horrible blank abomination. Like that. And then you can use a different washi down the middle there. What other washi have we got? Some nice brownish ones here. Got some hearts and keys. That would be appropriate for Valentine's Day, wouldn't it? Got some checks, which is more me. Got some snowflakes, which would probably be extremely. Got some, oh, that's got compass roses and snowflakes. Compass roses, map, snowflakes. Oh, clever. Let's use that. Oh, that's cool. So this is going down the spine where it's going to bend to attach basically that page to this page on this side, because it's not attached on this side. It's only attached with glue on the flap. Oh, I like that. That's cool. That suddenly became an interesting page instead of ugly. Okay, so now we have, oh no, that's going to be that way, isn't it? Hang on. I'll figure out where this one goes now because it's in the, so that's my astrology page. Oh, there we go. So that's my astrology page. And that's that page there. And then that's an interesting page. That's too much together. So that must have been going the other side of that. Yeah. Actually, I think I could take that one out of there and put it there. And then there's that, and then put that one there. Break that up a bit. Yes, because again, I can scan or find another piece of this paper and print it out and just stick it over the top of that, and just use that as a pre-decorated page. Or even just gesso this out and write over the top of it. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, I think I'm at final flip stage. This one I think could be nice as a front piece there. Goes nicely with that page, the colours. So if I put that there. Might stick it that side actually, kind of like that too. I'll leave this loose for now. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might tear it off, or I might fold it up and make a tuck spot, or I might stick it that side with the blue. That blue looks nice with this. It brings that dark over, or it kind of looks okay there, but it needs something else to, this is too plain against that. But yeah, I think that'll be nice on the inside cover. And then got the calendars, something for an IMOC thing, some darker pages because we like darker pages. This again, I could stick a piece over there or stick a photo on there and just use the page as it is. Don't even need to do anything to the page. Could even stick a piece of watercolor paper on there and paint on it, do something like that. Art and objects. I just like that page. This is fun. This is better against that. It's a bit busier without being in your face. It mutes, it tones down her. Although I kind of like the art and objects. I wish the art and objects had been next to her, because I think that would have been better. I think that would have been better that way, but never mind. That works too. Maybe if I put something on here, and then it'd be art and objects, and then something here, and then her, you know? Oops, keep missing that page, don't I? Got the doggies, and the unicorns and the doggies, and some plainer pages. Ooh, lots of plain pages, and something to do there. Haven't stuck this down, could do all sorts of things with it. I think if I was going to stick that down, I'd stick it that side. So let's turn that over. Have it that way. So if I do want to stick it down to that page, it's stuck down to the page there. That's better. And I could even then wrap this around so that this, fingers and thumbs, I could wrap it like that, you see. So then this isn't such a plain page either. It's nice having plain pages, and I want to have some pages that I can do double page spreads on, but I don't need every single page in the middle to be a double page spread. I really like that blue, that's pretty. What I might do is sew an acetate in here in the middle, so I can turn that into pockets maybe. I'll think about that. And then we've got this side. And then got a little flap there, another one there. I can do all sorts of things with that. Again, if I wanted to, I could mount this on a piece of paper and then glue around the edges, and then I've got another pocket there if I want it, or I can stick that down. Or I can just leave it loose as a cover if I want to write on this page or whatever. All sorts, all sorts. That's what I like about this. It's been a long time since I've used a journal like this. I'm really looking forward to it. All that space in there is bothering me. I don't know why, but it's bothering me. So I need to do something about that. But then again, you know, I could, if I wait, I can always sew bits into it and then show you on Saturday what I've done to sew bits in, couldn't I? What do you guys think? So I have a double page spread there I can do a drawing on if I want to. These are going to be useful for bullet journaling pages. You can always add pages anyway. This will be really cute with a picture in it. Probably something about that map page. It's so ugly. I like this little bird at the back. He's cute. Oh, and he goes with that. Oh, that's cool. So she goes with the lighter side and he matches the darker side where it's brown. Oh, that's cool. I like that. That's very cute. Very cute. And then that's another plain page because that's the back of my calendars. Ah, no, I didn't think about that. Okay, so at the back here, I've got a couple of plain pages that I don't really need plain pages because they're calendars. So let's put something on this page opposite here. I'm thinking maybe I'll just put that on there, to be honest. Just make a pocket at the back. You don't have to use it as a pocket. You can use it as decoration. Just stick a photo over the top. Yeah, let's do that. Oops. So on the front, these are 3 calendar pages. I forgot that at the back, they would be 3 blank pages. This is why it's a good idea to flip. Always a good idea to flip. Okay. Let's do it this way. So if I fold it that way, line it up there, line it up at the bottom and the edge there, and then I can fold it over there and cut it off. Let's not cut it off. Let's just fold it over. Belay that, belay that, belay that. Let's line it up at the bottom. I learned this from pockets the other day when I was playing with pockets. Okay, so that's the front. So it's going on here. And then, right, okay, let me think. Down and across, across and down. So this way. Now I'm not going to go up the center because I don't want glue here where I'm going to have to put my needles through, okay? What I'm going to do is stick this bit, but not yet. Let's get one side stuck and then deal with the other side. So smooth that out a little bit. Okay, bend that up, position, line it up. Whoops, slidey, slidey. Okay, now, instead of gluing this free edge on that side, I glue this edge. What it does is it gives me a slightly wider pocket on the other side. Okay, fold that over. The way I hear you thinking out loud, you probably want to add and play with it a bit more before you sew it together. By the way, you aren't recording anymore. No, it's not important. We finished what we were doing. We just kind of stopped and it actually records on YouTube. I only record on Zoom as a backup, but thank you for the reminder, because otherwise it would have been useful to remember. But we only have half an hour, and that's not half an hour is not really long enough to bind it, I don't think. So give that a good seal together. Okay, so now we've got a pocket that only goes to there on one side, and on this side it comes right out to the edge. So although you wouldn't be able to fit in a piece of paper this big, you would be able to fit in one that was slightly less wide. So that's going to go, oh, I've lost my place now. Oh, it's okay, because this is the calendar. I'll know where that's going to go. Like that. Okay. One more flip. One more flip. Because I think I'm done now. I think I'm done. Okay, so this will be the inside page. I'm not going to glue that right now. This I'll leave open and I'll decide what I'm going to do with it later. I might just tear it off. You know, never know with me. Could do anything with it. I love this. It's not me at all, but it's very gothic. I've got my calendar of events, my appointments calendar. Love her. I love this page. This is really good. Hate that page. Got to do something with that. Love this. This is really nice. This is really cool. I love this vintage letter. It even feels vintage, actually. It even feels very... I might cut that white off there and re-ink the edge, because that kind of jars it. It looks good on this side, and when you turn it over, there's a white edge. So I might trim that off and re-ink it. This is going to be cool to work on. I love this. I wish I could get some of this. Where do you get this stuff? You probably make it yourself. Got my astrology, which is a little bit further through the book than I'd like it to be. Have I got any? I've got 2 pages together that I could swap it for. No, it's not as far as it looks. Okay. It's just an optical illusion because it's usually near the front. This is going to look cool. I like her. Although I don't know if I like her on the text, to be honest. Maybe she needs to be on a plainer page. Maybe she needs something on there behind her. Don't know. I'll have to think about that. Might have to play a little bit and rearrange signatures and stuff. But overall, I'm happy with it. Overall, I'm looking at it and thinking, yeah, this is cool. I want to work in this. I'm just thinking maybe I need to move things around just a tiny bit. You know, I actually could take that bit out. That looks really nice together, and then that breaks up all my double pages. Let's try that. Massive overload of senses, nice and calm, a little bit of interest. Yeah, I like that. That looks better. That looks better. I like that. It doesn't matter that it's smaller because this looks nice together. This is nice and calming and not crazy, but it's still plenty of space. And I can always add things to it. This is not like, oh, this is my finished journal and all I'm going to do is write in it. You know me, I'm going to add all sorts of crap to it. I'll probably cover a few of these pages up too, you know. That's how I roll. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually, because that'll be a bullet journal page and that'll either be a drawing or something. I could draw a girl behind that and then have the flowers in front of her. That would be pretty. Kind of like that as well, the modern writing, modern and the old. That's cool. Interesting. Space to do stuff. Interesting. Interesting. I want to do something with that page. I don't like that page particularly, but I liked the page on the back of it. So, but that's good because if I want to add any more of these drawing pages, I can stick one on there and have it fold out that way. So that's okay. I've got plenty of room to change things around. I might reprint this with something better on the back, you know, because I really love this paper almost as much as I hate this. So I might reprint this with something a little more conducive to, you know, just something a little plainer, even if it's just vintage background. It would be a little better than that map. I might reprint it. And then I can use this as like torn up ephemera just to stick to pages, or I could stick a piece over that or something. That would be quite cool. Turn some of it into journaling cards. I like that end piece. This goes really well with that end piece. So that pocket is definitely staying. What I could do, you know what I could do? Here's what I can do. Here's what I can do. I can move that down so that that's only there. Because you know me, I'm a nerd. I like the fact that that's got 13 written on it. If I did that, or even that, and then just took this bit off, and then I can use this bit somewhere else. So I could turn that into a pocket at the back, because that goes really nicely with that paper. That looks beautiful next to that paper. And this has got a really heavy design on it. So this actually could be an end piece. I could leave that plain and it would look nice. So that could be an idea for that bit. Right, it's 17:34. We've been going for 3.5 hours. How about we stop there? And like Mika says, I obviously want to do a bit more to this, don't I? I want to play with it. So if I do some little bits and pieces, you've seen it up to now. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but if I just do, you know, finishing off this and sticking that where it should be, I'll reprint that page. I might shuffle around some of these middle pages because it is actually getting a little bit out of control now with how wide it is. So I might just shuffle around some of these middle pages and see if I can cut them down just a little bit, or I might leave it until I've got it sewn together. Prep it for binding so that it's ready, and then I can show you how to bind it on Saturday. But I can also show you the extra little bits that I've done with my sewing machine for those of you who are a bit more advanced and want to try adding some fabrics. Because honestly, I could spend another 3 hours just messing about with fabrics and figuring out what I want to add to it. So I'll do that, I think. And then Saturday, we're doing Bridget's Cross on Saturday, which I can do as it's actually a really quick thing. It's not nearly as complicated as it looks. There's just lots of options. I was going to do it as a pre-recorded video, but I don't know if Tracy's coming on Saturday. If she is coming on Saturday, class may be a little later than normal. But I'll let you know. I'll let you know on the day because it depends on the weather, you see. So I'm liking this so far. I am. I like it. I like it a lot. It's got a nice Imulk feel to it. It's homely and comfy, and I'm enjoying it. Yes. So yeah, I'll leave you there for the day and let you go and get to the point where you've got your books together, and then you can start binding yours on Saturday. Yeah, you've got time to get some papers together and play. Oh, Mara's looking excited. She's like, Mara's clapping. She's so excited. She's like, oh yes, yes, let me play. Okay, go and get some bits together and see what you can come up with. I know Mika wants to go and play on Pixabay, print all the things. Okay, so Saturday, have something like this. I haven't counted how many pages there are in this. I've been going purely by feel. It feels about right. That's all I can tell you. Depth-wise, if I scrunch it together, it is, I'd say, about a centimetre. No, 0.75 of a centimetre. 75 millimetres. What's that? 3/8 of an inch? Yeah, 3/8 of an inch-ish. that sort of thickness is what you're going for. Because this sort of thickness, see, what you're looking at is the depth from that point there. See where the edge of my card is here. Oh, let me use the red bit of the card. There we go. That point there where the edge of the card is to there. Now, when you bind that, that thickness is going to be maybe half as thick, 2/3 as thick. So you don't want that thickness there to be any bigger than about 1/2 inch. So let's do it that way, because then you can use different thicknesses of paper and it won't matter. So aim to have, when you push a card into that slot there, that gap between the edge of the card and there is no more than 75 millimeters, or not even 1/2 inch, is it? 1 centimetre or 3/8 of an inch. Let me re-say that because I said too many numbers. When you bend your book like that and you push something into that thing reasonably tight, not crunching it in, but reasonably tight, the gap between the back of the spine and that card needs to be no more than 1 centimetre, which I believe is 3/8 of an inch. Might be 1/4 of an inch, you'll have to check. But 1 centimetre. I don't think I have, oh, do I have my, hang on. Aha, I've got my metal ruler here. Hang on, I can check in inches. Oh, it's big, a bit bigger than 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to say 2/3 of an inch. I don't know what that is, because you're into 1/16 at that point, and I have no idea. 2/3 of an inch between the 1/4 and the 1/2. That's 2/3. Okay. So that's where we're looking at. There's 1/2 inch. There's 1/4 of an inch. It's right in the middle. You figure out on your own, you know. You're the ones with weird paper sizes. Can't make up your paper size. Have you seen that? I'll have to post it in the forum. Have you seen that that Australian guy talking about English and American paper sizes? And he talks about, well, I don't want to spoil it really because it's funny. It's funny when he does it. He's talking about American and English paper sizes, because, you know, English paper sizes, you take A0 and you fold it in half and you've got A1. And you fold it in half, you've got A2. You fold it in half, you've got A3. You fold it in half, you've got A4. You fold it in half, you've got A5. You fold it in half, you've got A6. You fold it in half again, you've got A7. And so on, as small as you want to go. A0 is based on a specific measurement that fits around the Earth a specific number of times. Okay, it's all scientific. And then he goes, and then you've got the American one. Hang on, I'll stop the share. Let me go back to over here. There we go. And then you've got American sizes. You've got letter size. How big is letter size? About that much. It's about that big. And that's how they continued to measure paper. They went from about that big to half of about that big to let's add a bit more on. It's really funny, much funnier when he does it. I will put it in the forum. I'm also going to put that introduction to the astrology things in that I forgot about. In fact, I'm going to do that now while I remember, while I wait for my groceries to arrive. Right. Yeah, I'll see you on Saturday then, guys. Have fun and play with pulling bits of paper together and making books. Yay.